We're all a bit discombobulated today. We're really ready for this day.
Oh,
and we're completely ready.
Yeah.
Nothing going up wrong behind the scenes today.
No, seamless
as
always.
I can't find the musical thing, so I'm looking up music on here.
Disaster.
It's a bit of a disaster today.
I think we have a massive room of things.
Anyway, don't worry about it. I'll sort that out.
We'll
my God.
Yeah, we can sing.
So we're back. And we're gonna not do a news thing. I'm not going to do a news thing today. We're just going to do the quiz, and Mark's talk, can't we, Mark?
Yep.
So let's make sure the ball is in the right place.
Main news is we're back. How is everybody?
That is the main news. We are back.
Have you missed us?
And it's all seamless behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I'm going to have to do that instead of
We're going to get a copyright strike for that.
For Itsy Bitsy Spider.
We'll probably get thrown off YouTube for Itsy Bitsy Spider.
It's absolutely fine. So I can't find my musical bits. So we're going to get a copyright strike for Itsy Bitsy Spider. It's seamless.
Yes, DJ's here. Brian's here.
Hi DJ. Hi Brian. Oh blimey. So we won't be able to have any news today because I'm working on something else.
Yeah.
I'm working on something else that's taking up all my time and energy.
Top secret.
It's top secret. It's going to be really good because I now understand PowerPoints. I can't get enough of them.
Hey, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret. So no news today because I'm working on something else because I can't get enough of PowerPoints and I'm making a really big one that's going to take about a month.
That's a euphemism for Lizzie's working on The Secret of Alchemy, and he's going
I'm telling him to speak into the ball. It's a ball of noise.
The ball of alchemy, transformation.
Oh God, blimey! We've had a right old day of it today, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've had
You've been racked with pain.
It's all right. It's fine. I'm always racked with pain. So, do we wait a bit before we start the quiz? Do we wait a bit, or do we just give you lot because you're on time a head start?
Well, there is that, I suppose. There
is that. You were here to start with.
Brian's doing it. Walking to the shop.
What's he doing?
He's on here with us.
Oh yeah.
Whilst walking to the shop,
it's blowing a gale out there as well.
It is, which is quite symbolic.
Why?
Because we've got Shakespeare, The Tempest. It's all about there's all storms. It's all very symbolic.
Yeah.
With the Shakespeare, and we've got it going on outside. It's happening.
What have they called this one? Storm John or something? What have they called this one?
I have no idea.
No idea whatsoever.
No idea.
No idea.
They probably run out. They've had so many.
Storm Susan. I blame her for everything.
Yeah.
Right, so there's no news today. Oh, Kathleen. Is it Storm Kathleen?
No.
That's not very scary, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I've met a few Kathleens in my time. Yeah. I haven't met any. That was just for humour. How did I do? Right, we will get on with the quiz. So no news today. So you early birds will get a head start on everybody. And I'm going to get a copyright quiz for playing Itsy Wincy Spider because I've lost my musical instrument. I'm repeating myself now. You're all bored to tears. So should we just get on with it, Mark?
Go for it.
I'm going to go for it. I'm going for it. Let me find my quiz. Right. Oh, hold on, Brian. Should we wait for Brian to get back? Oh no, he's walking to the shop.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's doing. He
is typing.
He's with. Yeah. I don't know how he's doing it, but
he's multitasking.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Magic. Right, let's just get stuck into the quiz because when Mark does his Shakespeare thing, I'll be running off trying to find headache pills, no doubt. Let's get started. So, our little theme tune is going to be a bit weird today because I can't. It's a giant bloody plastic thing, and I don't know where it is. So, if we get a copyright strike for Itsy Wincy Spider, that's ridiculous. Right, ready, go. Spider climbed up the spout again. Right, that's our theme tune today. Ooh. Right, question number 1. Fingers on buzzers, please. Let's just get stuck in, Mark, shall we?
Yeah, do it.
Just get stuck in. Oh, don't forget to thumbs up it. I don't know why I say that. I don't think it matters. But I see the professional people doing it.
Yeah,
and professional people say
it gives us affirmation.
Yeah, it makes us happy.
Yeah, because we haven't dissolved our egos.
No
Still,
point. No. There's no point. Right, number 1.
Johnny Fettler's in the house.
Hi, Johnny.
Yeah.
He's going to be surprised when he hears the music.
Yeah.
There's no news today, Johnny.
No, the news is there's no news.
Yeah.
Johnny, I want to thank you. It's been long belated. I know it's weeks old. Everyone's forgotten it by now. But I saw belatedly in the chat when I was doing the Dostoevsky that you mentioned how he said beauty will win in the end. And I did have that written down in my notes, but I forgot to say it. But I was like, wow, yes, that would have been a fantastic ending because Dostoevsky, beauty will win in the end. So
that's got nothing to do with today, has it?
It hasn't, but I've been waiting for about a month to thank Johnny for that.
Right, he's probably forgotten all about the bloody thing.
He's forgotten. Everyone's forgotten. Everyone's bored.
Oh, bloody hell.
Cosmic's in.
Hi, Cosmic.
Brilliant.
Right.
Get ready for the quiz, peeps.
Before I forget, everybody tune in to Cosmic's live stream on Monday. He's going to talk about the eclipse.
Yeah.
So, just saying. Right, moving on. Number one. We're just getting stuck in, Cosmic, because I got an headache. We're going to just get stuck in with a quiz. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for 10 minutes now, and we haven't actually got stuck into it, have we?
We're going in a loop.
Yeah. Story of our lives.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right, for question 1.
There exists apparently well-documented cases of the successful transmutation of base metals into gold from well-respected scientists. True or false? I didn't read that very well, I don't think. Basically, have they turned base metals into gold?
And it's been scientifically documented.
I don't know.
That's not Itsy Bitsy Spider.
I'll have to turn it on and off.
Oh, here it is.
I'll have to turn it on and off. I'm going to get a copyright strike. Yeah. See Witsy Spider. There's the spout. Came the war drops. Oh, guys. Anyway, true or false? False?
Right.
True or false?
Right. Well,
it's not going well today, is it? With this Itsy Bitsy Spider nonsense.
It's Brian's already missing it. The tunes. But anyway, we'll keep.
He's missing the tunes. Where's it gone?
I've
lost it. Is it down there?
It's
I've let myself down.
We've lost the music.
Look, I know. I've let myself down.
I was getting abuse because I couldn't find it.
I need a wee.
And then
today is we're not very professional today.
Right. Okay. Let's put it. Let's get it back.
Put it to one side.
Let's bring it back.
Brian, this is the music. Right. The answer is true.
Yes.
The famous scientist Helvetius, quite famous apparently. No idea.
Big in his day.
Left a description of such an incident which had taken place in 1666.
Right.
Yeah, 666. Several other testimonies include that of Helmont, a distinguished chemist and discoverer of carbon dioxide, who coined the term gas. There are also some artifacts, mostly medals and coins, in European collections, which are said to have been made of alchemically transmuted metals. They are often display unusual physical and chemical properties. So apparently, yes,
scientific basis.
Trust the science.
Yeah.
So who got that one in?
DJ was first in with true, just ahead of Cosmic.
Well done, everybody.
Yeah, well done, DJ.
Right.
And that links obviously from the other week's talk, and I will be doing an alchemy part 2.
Yeah, there'll be an alchemy part 2. Yeah. Not today though.
No, but that disconnected. Anyway,
Number 2. This Muslim sect was around at the time of the Crusades and are sometimes referred to as the first terrorists in history. Was the sect called Shrinicayo? I should have practiced this. As in AUM, as in Om. Shinrikayo, the Muti, the Hashishim, or the Camorra. Oh my Christ. Brilliant. So Shakrinro, Muti, Hashishim, or the Camorra. Sorry. Camorra, Hashishim, Muti, Shrikinko, the first terrorists, kind of. I got to pause it. I am definitely going to be hilarious if I got a strike for
thrown off YouTube for
Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Well, it is coded language, obviously, for
what? No, don't say. Right. Okay. Who was first with Hashishim?
It was DJ.
Why did you say that? Hashishim.
I don't know. The DJ put hash. I thought that was just talking about his Saturday night.
Oh yeah, no. So DJ got it right.
Yes, no, we did. I'm saying that he was first. DJ was first.
Hashishim. Right. Marco Polo, back in the late 1200s, wrote about the Hashishim. They used intimidation and targeted murders for political purposes. The English word assassinate and its various derivatives, such as assassination, come from the name of this sect. It is said they embolden themselves for some of their exploits by getting high on hash first.
Oh, so there is a link there.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, it's a link. Yeah.
It's a link, yeah.
Well, funny enough as well, I'll have to look into the thing of this because it's not part of the talk. But I seem to remember something about in the English language, Shakespeare coming up with assassinate or assassins, something like that.
Oh,
so that's interesting.
That proves it.
That's another link.
That proves he's fake news. Yeah.
Flipping interesting,
It
Margaret
is,
says.
Margaret.
Quite right indeed.
Yes, it is. Right, number 3. Who was... I thought that said boxer. I'm blind as a bat, okay? We haven't had time to sort the lighting out. I nearly said, who was a particularly adept boxer?
Muhammad Ali.
Yes,
but
he's not on there.
This is the wrong answer.
No, this was I'm going to start looking into this guy because I think he sounds fascinating. So who was a particularly adept hoaxer? Benjamin Franklin, Isaac Newton, Thomas Jefferson. Hoaxer: Benjamin Franklin, Isaac Newton, Thomas Jefferson. Just getting on my wit this. Oh, I'm showing it to the wrong computer. Oh my goodness. Where are you? Mr. Finger, where are you? What?
It's a bit dodgy.
Here I am. I don't know.
Satanic messaging you get.
I don't know what's going on. Oh, blimey. Right. Okay. Did anybody put Franklin?
Yes, the great man DJ.
Benjamin Franklin. I'm definitely a fan, if this is true, of this guy all of a sudden. I didn't know nothing about him. So Benjamin Franklin is a correct answer.
Yeah, Johnny and Cosmic got it as well,
Well
but
done.
DJ was fast off the trigger as usual.
This is from hoaxes.org. Now, I say go and take a look at his hoaxes because they're brilliant. I really like this guy if this is true. And I think it is. I'll put this a little bit closer to me. Benjamin Franklin, 1706 to 1790, was born the son of a candle and soap maker. But by his own efforts and intellect, he rose to become arguably the most admired man of the 18th century. I admire him now, if this is true. Throughout his long and illustrious career, he was many different things: a printer, philosopher, man of science, man of letters, and a statesman. He was also a hoaxer. Like other 18th century literary figures, such as Jonathan Swift and Daniel Defoe, he used hoaxes for satirical ends, to expose what he perceived as foolishness and vice to the light of public censure. The efforts of Franklin and other Enlightenment hoaxers to address public opinion through hoaxes reveals the increasing importance placed upon public opinion and the idea of democracy throughout this period. Franklin was a master of the art of public relations before that concept had even been dreamed up. The very image of himself, which he presented to the world as a simple but wise American rustic dressed in a raccoon skin hat, was a carefully crafted public persona, which belied the reality that he was one of the most sophisticated, cosmopolitan men of the era. Now, I'm just listing some of the hoaxes here, but I really do think you should go and have a look at Benjamin Franklin on hoaxes.org and have a little read properly into his hoaxes because they were brilliant. So the electric kite hoax, the witch trial at Mount Holly hoax, and the letters of silence do good hoax. I really do recommend you go and have a look at Benjamin Franklin's hoaxes because they were great. And he was showing up, the hypocrisy and the nonsense by doing hoaxes.
DJ did say he was also a member of the Hellfire Club. So that links to your quiz.
I don't like him anymore. No. But anyway, yeah. It just shows it goes.
It gets worse.
Oh, Christ. Oh, Christ.
Oh, blimey.
What? I don't like him anymore.
No.
Just scrap everything I've last said for the last 10 minutes.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, if he's all about starting PR effectively and deception in the public sphere.
Oh, I thought he was doing it for good reasons, but apparently he's not.
It's difficult to say.
It's difficult to say. And thanks DJ, he's a bit of an arsehole. I can't stand him.
Well, that turned quick.
Everybody learned, Andy.
Right.
Right. But his hoaxes are funny.
Yep.
Anyway.
Right.
Which song does Hal sing when it is closing down in 2001, A Space Odyssey? Is it singing Daisy Bell, Bicycle Made for Two, Oh My Darling Clementine, or Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Or Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Itsy Bitsy Spider. So when Hal is closing down in Space Odyssey 2001, what's it singing? Bicycle Made for Two, Oh My Darling Clementine, Mary Had a Little Lamb.
The dog takes the cat. The dog takes the cat.
Hey, hey, hey. The dog takes the cat. Cat takes the mouse. The cat takes the mouse. E-I-O-D-O. The dog takes the cat.
It's natural law, everybody.
Natural law.
Yeah.
Right. Did anybody say Bicycle Made for Two, Daisy Bell?
The Man DJ.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm off great.
I'm a bit more like Howes. He's going a bit wonky.
That's too much of that.
Johnny Fettler got the old bicycle as well.
Brilliant.
But DJ was first.
He's bloody in there, mind.
Yep.
Right. Daisy Bell, Bicycle Built for Two is a song written in 1892 by British songwriter Harry Dacre, with the well-known chorus, we've done that, haven't we? Yeah. Ending with the words, a bicycle made for two, built for two. The song is said to have been inspired by Daisy Greville, Countess of Warwick, one of the many mistresses of King Edward VIII. It's the earliest song sung using computer speech synthesis by the IBM 7094 in 1961. A feat that was referenced in the film 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah, because I think I read somewhere because like HAL, HAL, so isn't it it's one letter removed from IBM.
Oh, A.
So H is one letter before I.
Oh.
A is one letter before B, and L is one letter before M. So
I is one letter before B.
No. No, people who get it
Trust
anyway.
the science.
Yeah.
Yeah, people won't get that.
HAL IBM.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. Anyway, yes.
DJ will explain it.
I'll do it question in several months' time.
Yeah.
No one remembers it.
Right. I was into hoaxes this time. Which is the real hoax? Which one of these hoaxes is real? The flying platypus hoax? The royal mix-up of 1784? Or the Great Moon hoax of 1835? Flying platypus, royal mix-up, Great Moon hoax. The mouse takes the cheese. The mouse takes the cheese. The cheese stands alone. The cheese stands alone. The cheese stands alone.
I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't.
The cheese stands alone.
I wasn't in this to be bloody singing.
It's fine. It's fine. Right.
Margaret's saying great questions. Thank you, Margaret.
Thanks, Margaret.
It's all down to the lovely.
In a minute, she'll say great singing, I expect.
I think Brian's thing's in a bit of a time warp. Maybe that's because he's walking down to the shop. He's gone
Brian's in a time warp.
Because he just answered Newton. That was about 3 questions ago. So,
or maybe it's 3 questions in the future.
Well, maybe, yes.
That would be interesting.
Either way, you wouldn't get any points.
No points for time traveling.
Yeah.
Not in this age,
no.
Day and age. Right. Did anybody say the Great Moon hoax of 1835, Mark?
I don't think
nobody learned, Andy. Oh, now I was a bit surprised that we didn't know this one, to be honest. So, the answer is the Great Moon hoax of 1835. Life was discovered on the moon in 1835, according to New York City's daily newspaper, The Sun. On August the 21st, they advertised a 6-part series on great celestial discoveries made by Sir John Herschel. The articles ran from August the 25th to August the 31st. The series increased readership, although the exact numbers offer multiple alternative facts. Some readers were true believers, ready to send missionaries to the moon. Others were skeptics. Most were deeply amused, but it didn't take long for the series to be proven a fake, known as the Great Moon Hoax. The articles described animals on the moon, including bison, single-horned goats, mini zebras, unicorns, bipedal tailless beavers, and bat-like winged humanoids who built temples. There were trees, oceans, and beaches. These discoveries were supposedly made with an immense telescope of an entirely new principle. The telescope, transported to South Africa from New England, was said to be many times larger than any other telescope in the world. The lens measured 24 feet in diameter and 7 tons in weight. The first great moon hoax. Go carefully, you say that round.
Oh, Ben's not here. Does that?
Ben's not here.
Oh, Linda's in the house though.
Linda's in the house. Linda's in the house. Linda, we started the quiz early. So many reasons why. I'm
sure you would have got several questions by now.
She'd probably be winning by now, I expect
so, yeah.
Right. Question number 6. Why do I always give myself long words? Because I'm not the brightest spark in the spark factory. Yeah. What is allodoxophobia? Linda's going to be confused about the music, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just surprise her.
Yeah.
The fear of other people's feet. The fear of other people. The fear of other people's opinions. People's feet, other people, people's opinions. The fear of. Feet, people, opinions. I can't get my bloody nonsense on. Ho daddy-o, the cheese stands alone.
Oh.
That's quite deep.
Yeah. Blessed are the cheesemakers.
No. Cupcakes with moustaches. Linda's going to be so confused.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to keep moving it on or I'll get a strike.
Yes, I know.
The Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Yes, I know. Wait, that's enough. That is really, really weird. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because I was in bed last night, and you know that bit in Shrek where he goes, "Do you?" When the gingerbread man's being tortured,
oh yeah,
and he goes, "Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man, the Muffin." I was going over and over and over and over and over in my head with that, and then I just got the Muffin Man. So.
Quite terrifying.
Yeah.
So,
did anybody say allodoxophobia is the fear of other people's opinions?
Well, a few got it. Linda, Margaret, but first one was the great Johnny Fettler.
Woo! Well done, Johnny.
Well done, Johnny.
So I thought it was quite funny because I thought, well, now we know what 90% of the sodding population is suffering from.
Yeah, no.
Thought that was quite a funny one. Right, number 7. Which country has the most pyramids? Which country has the most pyramids? Colombia, Egypt, Russia, Sudan. Colombia, Egypt, Russia, Sudan. The Muffin Man Lane. Drury Lane. I'm so going to get a strike for this. It's weird.
Don't.
Something about jelly, spaghetti, and burgers.
Got some Twilight World.
You like tomatoes?
Oh, Christ.
Right, this is going to be so weird. Did anybody say Sudan, Mark?
Well, one person said Sudan, Liz.
Which person, Mark?
It was the legendary Cosmic.
Well done, Cosmic.
Well done, Cosmic.
So, Sudan has the most pyramids in the world, with between 200 and 255 known triangular tombs built by members of the Kingdom of Kush, an ancient civilization that ruled the areas along the Nile from 1070 BC to 350 AD.
Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Nope.
Nobody knew. Well, no,
Cosmic did.
Yeah.
Some people did.
Some people knew.
Yeah.
The person who wrote. Anyway,
yeah.
Number 8. What is the planet? Now, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Cancri 55E. Trips off the tongue. What is the planet Cancri 55E mostly comprised of? Emeralds, coal, diamonds, ice. Emeralds, coal, diamonds, ice.
Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa, eating sugar, no, Papa, telling lies, no, Papa, open your mouth, no, Papa, Johnny, Johnny.
It's a song to Johnny.
Yes, Papa.
Johnny.
He played knick-knack on my shoe.
With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a
That's one of
bone.
my favourites.
This is one of Mark's favourites. I really miss the old music. I don't know what I've done with it. Sister Finger again. Oh,
Too dodgy, isn't it?
right.
Right.
Did anybody say diamonds?
Well, yes, Cosmic did, but he was beaten to it by DJ.
Oh,
So
well done,
both,
DJ.
But DJ wins that one.
Oh, you're going to have to type something in a minute, Mark.
Oh, shit.
Right, I want you to type that so it's that.
All
right.
I can't do that.
I'll have to do it myself.
What does say?
I'll do it myself.
Say the
I'm
number
going to
of
say
zero.
it, but I wanted people to see it.
Yeah, but
Shush! In 2012, Yale University students published a study announcing the identification of a planet rich in diamonds called 55 Cancri E. The planet is possibly covered in diamond rather than water and granite. Scientists explained at the time. The exoplanet is twice the size of Earth, but has 8 times its mass. The super Earth, 40 light years away from us, is locked in a hyperspeed tidal orbit to its star. The planet is 25 times closer to its sun than Mercury is to our sun. Temperatures there reach 9,200 degrees Fahrenheit, according to NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. 53 Cancri E has, in the broadest sense, an established value of about 26.9 nonillion, which looks something like this. Got it?
Yeah. Well, I think I've pretty much
dollars.
I might have missed a zero out, but
29 zeros on the end of 269 and then 29 zeros on the end.
Oh, I missed out the 9. But anyway, yeah.
So 26.9 nonillion. I didn't even know that was a word.
Margaret said, "Is all that? Is that all?"
Well,
that'd be a big tiara, actually.
I'm getting one for my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I promised Liz that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in true Benjamin Franklin style, I told her she's going to get a
lies
diamond the size of a planet.
Right. Number 9. Hey, everybody. What are Canada trying to tax now?
Oh, Christ.
How much grass you have? Rain? How many cars you have? What are they trying to tax now? Grass, rain, cars. Oh, I don't like this one. I don't like that one. It's just so weird. Oh, we should have had oh, I know what we have. Well, I know what we'll have. Oh, I can't believe I didn't get it up. My favourite one. Right. Hold on. Mark, no dead air. No dead air, Mark. No, just say who's won.
Oh. Hey.
Say who's won while I look at my favourite song.
Who has won? Oh, Mari's in.
Bloody hell.
Covered in there. Right. Hey, Mari.
It's not going well today, Mari.
No, it's going brilliantly.
Well, who won then?
What's the thing? Oh, yeah. So the answer is...
It's not going well today.
The answer is rain. And Margaret was first in with rain.
Well done, Margaret.
We all know about the rain these days.
Basically, the more hard surfaces your property has, the larger your tax will be, because it will deflect more rainwater into the sewer. So, Canada, well done, trying to tax rain.
Yeah, brilliant.
And a lot of Canada's got snow on it, so that's going to be a lot of rain.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, they'll probably bring it in here, and the amount of rain we're getting at the moment.
Oh, that's probably where we're getting all the rain.
Yeah, we'll be bankrupt by next
So
week.
that's what Canada are trying to tax now, rain. So, well done, Canada. You're knocking it out of the ballpark. Who won?
Oh, we forgot to...
What?
Daylight saving ended.
Daylight
so
saving ended?
we went an hour forward.
I don't understand.
So probably Mari's didn't know the time difference. Maybe I don't know. If that's
I
what
have
you mean.
no idea.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened?
They put the clocks forward, didn't they, last week?
Oh God, that was a whole week ago. Sorry, Murray. Did we do something wrong?
No. So basically, we would have started what was 6 p.m. last time. I mean, it confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I think they just do it to do that.
Oh, but anyway, sorry, Murray.
Murray's not really late.
I think that happened before we did the live stream, the old Artie live stream.
Yeah, we never told anybody anything.
confused.
That's probably why Green Tea's not here.
Well, maybe.
Probably fucked up Green Tea's life as well. Oh, sorry, guys. We don't understand
We've
it.
been fucking up people's lives for several weeks now. So, I mean, you know.
Who won that last one?
That was Margaret, wasn't it, with the rain?
Oh, well done, Margaret.
I'm not going to make any jokes about the Irish knowing about the rain because
we can't talk.
We can't talk.
We
Certainly can't talk here in England.
Number 10.
Bloody drenched.
Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation? This was a quote from CIA documentation referring to which operation? Project Artichoke, Operation Chaos, the Phoenix Program. Artichoke, Chaos, Phoenix Program. Baby monkey, baby monkey, baby monkey. Backwards on a pig, baby monkey. Word has not gone insane. I can't remember the words. Right, I'll just pause it there. Baby monkey. Mari, we've lost the plastic toy that we use for the music, so I'm just winging it. Yeah. This has got to be the most unprofessional one we've ever done. We've had a week off and it's all gone wrong.
Well, it's mainly the music.
Music,
mainly music.
Mainly the music. Okay. Did anybody say Project Artichoke, Mark?
I don't think we've got any artichokes.
No artichokes. Are you sure? I'm actually going to wee myself, I think.
Well, maybe do that then.
Right, okay. 1, 2, 3. Nobody learned, Andy.
Go and do your thing.
I got to read my thing out.
Oh, Christ.
Project Artichoke, also referred to as Operation Artichoke, was a project developed and enacted by the United States Central Intelligence Agency for the purpose of researching methods of interrogation. Initially known as Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke officially arose on August 20th, 1951, and was operated by the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. The primary goal of the project was to determine whether a person could be involuntarily made to perform an act of attempted assassination. The project also studied the effects of hypnosis, forced addiction, and subsequent withdrawal from morphine and other chemicals, including LSD, to produce amnesia and other vulnerable states in subjects. Project Artichoke was succeeded by Project MKUltra, which began in 1953. Well, that just sounds like a load of conspiracy nonsense.
Yeah.
The fact that there's actual CIA documentation, I don't care. It just sounds nonsense. I don't believe it. They wouldn't do that, Mark.
No,
so
they love us.
They wouldn't do it.
It'll be for our best interests.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right. Number 11.
Well, I just found out something new. Linda's never eaten an artichoke.
Well, I've got a plant pot in the shape of an artichoke. So there's
it, though.
So there's that.
There's that,
yeah. I don't think I've ever eaten one either.
Oh.
I probably might. Who knows?
Who knows?
Number 11. Okay. I was going a bit mad when I did this one. So keep your answers YouTube friendly to this one. I actually did go a little bit mad. Because I was just like, I don't know, I think I must have doom scrolled. And I just, by the end of it, I was just like, I don't know if up's down or down's up. So keep your answers YouTube friendly for this one. Number 11. What the actual fuck is going on this actual fucking fuck of a planet? What the actual fuck is going on this fucking actual fuck of a planet? Okay, over to you. Baby monkey.
Well, that's confused them.
Hold on. Get on the pig and hold on tight. Baby monkey. Baby monkey. Baby monkey on the pig. Baby monkey. Baby monkey. Baby monkey. Backwards on a pig, baby monkey. I think this is probably the most sensible part of the world, that there is a pig on the monkey. Or a
The
monkey
other way
on...
round.
Yeah.
I think they should do one with the pigs on the monkey.
Right. Right, okie dokie. So the madness. I think I was just like literally, I was getting a bit overwhelmed with nonsense, and I was doom scrolling on Rumble, because that's quite easy to do these days. It's what YouTube used to be. And you can go a little bit mad in the head, can't you? So what did everybody put, Mark?
So Murray put demons.
Yeah.
Linda put gin.
Yeah.
Margaret put mind viruses.
Yeah.
TJ the eclipse.
Yeah.
Johnny Fett the mass psychosis.
Yeah. Linda's message retracted.
Wow.
Oh, that must have been a good one.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I think she should win that one.
That's right. She's
Oh.
got secret knowledge. She
Heifers to be sacrificed. I know.
Mm.
Now, I want everybody to have a point, because they're
Right.
all right,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, we'll give everyone
Everybody needs a point now. Sorry, that was a bit of a daft one, but I don't know. My mind was just going. I was just like, what the actual fuck? I was going, what the fuck? And so I typed it.
Yeah.
So I thought,
why not sometimes?
Why not
some
some freestyle? Yeah. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Everybody got a point. Everybody learned.
To point,
Andy. You can tell it's rehearsed, can't you? Number 12. Fingers on buzzers, please. Oh, Canada! What's going on, mate?
Oh, not again.
Yeah?
Oh, Christ.
What bill is going to help prevent hate crimes? What bill is going to help prevent hate crimes? Bill C-63? Bill A? Bill Clinton. Right, okay, which bill? C-63, A, Clinton. Monkey!
Oh,
baby monkey! Backwards on a pig, baby monkey! Baby monkey! Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Singing!
Pig, baby monkey.
World is gone insane! I just love it. You pig and co. Oh God, I'm gonna get a strike. I keep forgetting. This one's gonna get a strike.
Right.
Okay, so obviously you can tell I'm getting a bit sick to death of the apocalyptic nonsense during this one, can't you? Obviously, well, potentially not. Obviously, it was Bill C-63. So, Bill C-63. Nothing. It's fine. Also known as the Online Harms Act, seeks to introduce harsher penalties for existing offences. It would allow sentences of up to 5 years behind bars for hate propaganda, up from the current 2 years. It would also allow a judge to impose lifetime imprisonment for advocating genocide. Well, the obvious question being, whose definition of genocide are we going by?
Oh, yeah.
Moving on.
Good point.
It's a quite good point.
Yeah.
You can see what I was like. I was getting cross.
Yeah.
I was getting very cross.
Is that a UK or America or?
It's bloody Canada again.
Oh, Canada. Sorry, you said
that.
Oh,
Canada. What is going on?
Yep, Canada.
Canada's gone bloody mad. Okay. Question 13. Fingers on buzzers, please. Who said 3 things cannot hide for long? The moon, the sun, and the truth. I can never say that first one.
Gautama,
Buddha, Krishna, Confucius. Gautama, Buddha, Krishna, Confucius. Who said 3 things cannot hide for long? The moon, the sun, and the truth. Baby monkey! Backwards on a pig, baby booper. Baby monkey, ooh, ooh, baby monkey, ooh, ooh. We are so going to get this thingamajiggamid. Right, are we there yet? So the answer is Gautama Buddha, which I don't know if I've said that right. Siddhartha Gautama, most commonly referred to as the Buddha, the awakened, was a wandering ascetic and religious teacher who lived in South Asia during the 6th and 5th century BCE, who founded Buddhism. So apparently, I thought that was quite a good quote.
Yeah, I know it's a good quote. Yeah. And Mari was first.
Well done, Mari.
With the answer.
Well done, Mari.
What am I?
I gave away my funny passive-aggressive mug to some. At work, I like to be. Connor calls it boomer humour, but I like to have a passive-aggressive mug, and I had to give it away as a present to a friend at work. And so I've been looking at funny mugs, and there was quite a funny one of a picture. You know that famous drawing of Confucius? There's a drawing of Confucius, and he said, "I didn't even say half of this shit." I thought that was hilarious, so I might buy that mug for work. Yeah. Right. I never said half of this shit. Right.
Margaret put confused. I'm not sure if she was trying to write Confucius or if it was just a general description.
She's got a point now.
But yeah,
she's got a point.
All right.
Right. Number 14. According to John Locke, individuals must be willing to surrender their individual rights for the greater good of the greater number. True or false? Should people surrender their individual rights for the greater good of the greater number? John Locke. True or false? Backwards on a pig, baby monkey.
Determined to get us thrown off, aren't you?
Huh? Yeah, I'm determined to get us thrown off. Monkey, baby monkey. Maybe I should just sing it myself.
Well, Linda's never going to surrender. She's in defiant mode. I love your spirit.
I've got a xylophone. That was out of context because most of that sentence was just in my head.
That's all right.
And the end part was, I've got a xylophone. What I meant to say was, instead of playing this, I should do it on a xylophone.
No, I understood you.
Oh, you did understand.
That's why I went, yep.
Well done, babe.
Yep.
I'd have to learn it anyway. The answer is false. John Locke did not believe that individuals must be willing to surrender their individual rights for the greater good of the greater number. Instead, he argued that individuals have natural rights to life, liberty, and property, and that the purpose of government is to protect these rights. Somebody should tell him. He believed that individuals should only surrender some of their rights to the government in order to maintain social order and protect the rights of all individuals. Somebody should have a word with the government. I'm telling you.
It's all gone a bit wrong.
It's all gone a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
So that was DJ.
Singing bowl. Linda's got a point there.
Yeah. Well, it will make a beautiful noise, but we've got to get.
I've got it all. No, we got the little. What?
It is actually vibrating.
Oh, it's what is?
The singing bowl.
The singing bowl's vibrating.
Make a loud noise again.
I can't. I'm not sure I can.
You can.
Ooh. Oh, it is vibrating. That must have hurt people's ears. Mark told me to do that. Let's get on with the quiz. Number 15. Why do you guys stay? Why do you stay? Honestly. What does, let me get baby monkey ready. What does sub rosa mean? Under the rose? Within the rose? With the rose? Under, within, with. Sub rosa. Oh, I've turned the volume down. Okay. Backwards on a pig, baby monkey. Under, within, with the rose. Insane. Know what it's thing. What's the time in real life then? What is the actual real?
Whose reality are you talking about?
Mari's probably.
I'm not sure.
So is it 7 or 8?
I don't know.
I think it's 8 because it's gone back. You spring forward and fall back.
But I don't know. Does Mari?
I don't.
Did New Zealand have a version of it there? Is that what you say, Mari? Do you go? Are you going? It's 6:45 there.
So what? Oh, we'll do it in stages. This learning.
We're all here now.
We're all here.
So that's
now.
the only reality that really matters.
Oh God! Right, the answer. Who was first with Under the Rose?
The man, DJ.
Oh, well done, DJ.
Well done, DJ.
In Hellenistic and later Roman mythology, roses were associated with secrecy because Cupid gave a rose to Harpocrates, the Hellenistic god of silence, so that he would not reveal the secrets of Venus. Banquet rooms were decorated with rose carvings, reportedly as a reminder that discussions in the rooms should be kept in confidence. This was inherited later. This was inherited in later Christian symbolism, where roses were carved on confessionals to signify that the conversations would remain secret. And that was all, the cross of Henday and that rose cross thing you talked about.
Rosicrucians.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yes. It's all coming together.
Now I need to get up earlier. Oh my God.
I know the feeling. But...
Number 16. What is the average colour of the universe according to astronomers? What is the average colour of the universe according to astronomers? Is it cosmic latte, star cream, Big Bang beige? Cosmic latte, star cream, Big Bang beige. It's on a pig, piggy monkey. Hey, oh God, quick. Cosmic latte, star cream, Big Bang beige. I'm rolling. Don't get on the pig and hold on. Monkey! Right, okay, where are we at?
Right.
Did anybody say cosmic latte, Mark? Nobody learned under. This is from astronomers. This isn't even me.
That's the most ridiculous one. So
turquoise. No, I know, but an astronomer came up with this. Somebody that earns more than me.
They just been out to bloody Starbucks and got a takeaway coffee. And
I'm
come
not
back
being
into
funny.
A meeting, so
I think. Well, I came up with Big Bang beige, and I thought that was fucking brilliant.
I think that Johnny likes it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm with it. Big Bang beige.
In 2002 study, astronomers found that the light coming from galaxies and the stars within them, alongside all the visible clouds of gas and dust in the universe, when averaged, would produce an ivory colour very close to white. They named this cosmic latte.
It is.
I want it to be Big Bang beige.
You said cosmic light. It sounds too trendy. Yeah. I mean,
that's an astronomer. He's probably on £100 million a day. Yeah.
That's what astronomers get.
Right. 17. A comet smells like rotten eggs, urine, burning matches, and what? A comet smells like rotten eggs, urine, burning matches, and what? Cut grass, almonds, wet dog. Cut grass, almonds, wet dog. No, we know. Oh, God. Bloody hell, Linda. We know it smells of matches. What's the other one? Cut grass, almonds, or wet dog? Oh, bloody hell. Linda's on the gin again. Linda's on the bloody gin again. Oh. Yeah. No, what do you think?
How has anyone got close enough to a comet to bloody smell it?
Sometimes they come down.
Yeah, but
they come down. Oh. they work it out by what's in them, don't they? Oh. They go, oh. Anyway.
Right.
Did anybody say almonds, Mark?
DJ was the first.
Well done, DJ.
Mari did come in with almonds,
and so
did Linda after a full start.
After she poured herself another gin. Of course, Johnny said wet dog.
But
so did Cosmic. Sorry, mate.
Well, you're both great men.
They work it out with science and noses.
Yeah. Margaret said dog as well. There was a lot of votes for dog.
Well, maybe it does.
Well, maybe it does.
Traces of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen cyanide were all found in the makeup of the comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko.
You're like Hal when he's breaking down.
Why couldn't they just call it Steve? Come on. Promotional postcards were even commissioned in 2016, carrying the pungent scent of a comet. Right, so almonds. So apparently comets smell like rotten eggs, urine, burning matches, and almonds.
Right, well, DJ got it. That's because he's third beer. He's
oh, well done.
He's on the roll.
Well done. 18. What fruit is radioactive? What fruit is radioactive? Bananas, apples, grapes. Bananas, apples, grapes. Baby monkey. Well, you can sing. I'm getting bored of it.
can't
Monkey. Just
sing.
sing baby monkey.
Baby monkey on a pig, baby monkey.
Keep going.
Baby monkey.
Keep going.
Baby monkey.
Riding backwards on a pig.
Riding backwards on a pig, baby monkey.
Right.
Oh, dear.
Is everybody? I need a wee.
Well, I think you said that 3
I
hours
will in
ago.
a minute. I will. Let's wait for everybody to have a go. If everybody had a go.
Lots
Right.
of goes.
Did anybody say bananas?
Many bananas. We've got many bananas in the chat tonight.
Oh.
But Mari's top banana.
Oh.
Top banana. See what I did there?
Yeah.
That's clever with that.
Said words.
Yeah.
Due to being rich in potassium, every banana is actually slightly radioactive, thanks to containing the natural isotope potassium-40. Interestingly, your body contains around 16 milligrams of potassium-40, meaning you're around 280 times more radioactive than a banana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well.
Any excess potassium-40 you gain from a banana is excreted out within a few hours.
So then you have radioactive poo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not that. It's not interesting. It's not interesting. It's not interesting.
Is
it?
I think
Oh, it's quite interesting. What don't starfish have? What don't starfish have? Teeth, hearts, bodies. Teeth, hearts, bodies. Starfish don't have teeth, hearts, bodies. Come on, you were quite good last time.
Hey, baby monkey. Baby monkey.
Louder.
Louder. On a pig, baby monkey.
Louder.
Hey, monkey.
The world has gone insane.
God.
We need to find that plastic thing.
Yeah.
Pretty damn quickly.
Yeah.
Linda said shoes.
Oh.
Well,
I can't deny she's not
pissed at arseholes again.
Got any shoes?
She's pissed again.
She's not wrong.
Linda's
there,
pissed again.
But it wasn't one of the options on that.
On the old.
Yeah.
Right. Has everybody had a go? Who's having a go?
There's had a lot of goes. We've had a lot of goes.
Right. So, did anybody say bodies?
Johnny steamed in with
steamed
body
in
just before you said that.
Well done, Johnny.
Superstar.
Along with other, how'd you say that? Echinoderms. Think of sea urchins. Echinoderms. Think of sea urchins. Their entire bodies are technically classed as heads.
Oh,
so starfish's whole body is its head.
A disembodied head.
It's a big old head.
Oh, there's going to be some mention of that later when they talk about Shakespeare.
Oh.
There's going to be some disembodied heads.
Disembodied heads in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
The whole starfish is a head.
It all links up.
It's interesting. Yeah. Oh, we're on the last question.
Fucking hell.
How did we manage that? Number 19.
I'm going to have to do stuff now.
Yeah, I'm going to have a wee and let you get on with it.
Right.
What is the original German meaning of the word poltergeist? I didn't think we had enough paranormal ones in. Seductive spirit, noisy spirit, violent spirit. Poltergeist. There's no learning on this one. I think I was bored and I just want to finish it. Seductive spirit, noisy spirit, violent spirit.
Right, go and have a situation.
No, we haven't finished.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
You've got to get pictures up, man.
All right. Yeah. Got to do bloody everything.
Yeah.
Oh, what it means. Sing. Keep on moving. On your pig and hold on tight. Baby monkey.
DJ's got a dead starfish as an ornament.
Oh.
Baby
monkey. Baby monkey. Baby monkey. Backwards on a pig, baby monkey. Right, we're bound to get this one. Who was the first one with noisy spirit?
Margaret, the wonderful, magnificent Margaret.
Margaret the Magnificent.
Indeed.
I haven't got any learning with this one. I couldn't be bothered. I was getting sick of it. Right. Who's a winner, Mark?
You've got a guess.
Linda.
Almost. Just narrowly beaten by DJ.
Well done, DJ.
Well,
Woo! Now, unless he says otherwise or changes his mind, he doesn't ever want a present. But we've decided to give him. There we go. Look, Linda. Oh, Linda's given Margaret a bloody cake emoji. We got to give DJ a really unusual, fun emoji because he doesn't have a present usually, unless he changes his mind. Find him a nice emoji. And you, Mark. I'll find one as well.
Oh,
let's find DJ a nice emoji to say congratulations.
All right.
Oh, my computer's not working. Oh,
well, it's not going to.
Oh, I'm buffering.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, God, has it all gone to shit? Oh, what's that, Linda? What have you given him now? Oh, it's a CD.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like a gold disc type thing.
Get him one for me, because mine's not working. Oh, hold on. Here we go. There we go. Yay. I think it's a roller coaster, because that was quite the roller coaster of a ride quiz.
It was.
This hasn't been our best.
I think
we've had a week off, and guess what? We're having another week off next week. Sorry.
We're very naughty, aren't we?
Yeah.
We don't deserve our fans.
We don't deserve them.
We don't deserve them at all.
Right, I'm going to get the picture up, and then I go for a wee.
I'm still looking for emojis. I better really.
You've already sent one. You sent
Yeah, I know I have. I was looking for a sea urchin or something.
Oh.
But we haven't got one. Oh. Right. Anyway.
Oh.
Can you get the first picture up?
Yes, I am.
Well, that's good.
So bossy. Right. Let's have a look. So we are going to entire screen. And then we go to
right.
There he is.
There he is.
Right, I need a wee first.
There, someone is.
That's fine. Sit down. I can get out.
All right. Okay.
Just make sure that you've got that next to you.
Just make sure you come back.
Right, I need a wee.
Right. So, yeah. There's my cushion's falling down. So, there's been, it's really interesting, a bit of a synchronicity really with how the talks have worked out. Not by design, but I wasn't sure at one point. I was just going to do the second part going on from the last talk around alchemy and the Jay Widener book around Grossehenday and Falconelli and all the background around that. But I went on to I'd also been thinking about doing some Shakespeare, so I've decided to do that in the end this week. But it does connect in, as you'll see, with a lot of the alchemy ideas. So again, it's really linking in with a lot of the subjects from previous talks, not just the alchemy one. But a lot of what prompted me to talk about Shakespeare tonight was, and well, he hasn't come in the chat, so I'm not sure he's listening live, but Israel Diego Rivera to the real genius, excellent producer of videos on his YouTube and Rumble channels, etc. I urge you to check him out. But one particular video that was put up recently was on the symbolism around old King Charlie Boy, and not sure what we can say on YouTube, but what he says, what many people think is his demise, and the symbolism around that's going on, and current events, and what is possibly foretelling, and connections with all these symbolism of people like the Rosicrucians, Freemasons. And within that video, he mentioned Shakespeare. It was the video, I Told You I Was Ill, Charles, the Eclipse, William, Star Child, Eclipse, Pythagoras, Pet Goat, 2 Comet. And as part of that, he was pointing out first man to get the old jibber jabber in this country, anyway, was, believe it or not, if you remember this, was called William Shakespeare. I mean, what are the chances of someone in this day and age known as William Shakespeare? And he happened to be the first man in Britain, at least, to have got the old jibber jabber. I did actually, when I was looking about on the internet, I did notice an article from the BBC in May 2021. So a few months later, saying, the second person in the world to get the Pfizer singy fungy bungy jibby jabby.
Can't get in.
Oh,
Can't get in. I'm back.
So yeah, sadly, the Will Shakespeare that got jibber jabbered, he died of an unrelated illness, they said, and Coventry councillor. So he lived around Coventry. That's not a million miles away from Stratford, I don't think. But this councillor said a friend of Mr. Shakespeare said he had died on Thursday, and added, the best tribute to Bill is to have the jab. But anyway, I was quite interested. Israel Diego Rivera, I'm not sure what to call him in really, but he refers to the jibber jabber as the William Shakespeare, pointing out, makes a good point. It's when people are about to give the injection, they give it a shake, and then it's put the needle into spearing the arm. So Shakespeare. So maybe there's some sort of symbolism in that. But well, also with this video, if we go on to the next picture when you get a chance to,
oh Christ! Oh, it's not going well today, is it?
Israel Diego.
I know, I just said it. He wants me to find the thing. I think that's because he don't like our singing. Oh no, sorry, I'm talking about DJ. It's really not going well this week.
Okay, anyway, if you just get them, there he is. So our friend John D, as we say, again, as I say, things are linking in without any great design on my part, but Israel Diego Rivera he said during this video, he was saying that Shakespeare plays were actually written by John Dee and Francis Bacon, who were both Rosicrucians, and that there was all this symbolism coming through that. And he was also talking about America and his connections with America there, how it's created by England, the founding fathers there being Rosicrucians, and I believe Freemasons, I think, as well. And that made me think again when I was talking about Dee, how he was credited with encouraging Elizabeth I to first go to colonize America, and he came up with the term empire. His navigation skills, technology, things that he invented, devices, and his map making all aided in the journeys to the New World. So he was intrinsically connected with this idea of going to America, and he believed that he thought that there was a rightful claim from England and the royalty here, because he said he believed that King Arthur, of Welsh origin as Dee was, had gone there centuries before, and so that there was a claim on that royal lineage of England. That's what part of the story, at least, that he gave to Elizabeth I. And I think he saw Elizabeth as following this line of King Arthur, and him, Dee, as Merlin. But I mean, I was intrigued by the statement that Dee actually wrote the plays. I knew he was often credited as being the model for the magician Prospero, which is in Shakespeare's final play, or his final proper play, as most people would agree it was, The Tempest. And I'm going to be talking about a lot later. But I hadn't heard his name put forward as an author, so just going to go a bit more into stuff around that. But it was funny when I was, as I say, this was all, I was looking into this. I was still also looking at the J. Widener book around alchemy. So and at the same time, I was just sort of scrolling through the internet, going through one of these search engines, and I was going through these different pages, and I was looking at, I can't remember exactly the term I put in. I think I was looking at, I was searching for Dee as Shakespeare, or Dee and Shakespeare, that sort of thing. And one of these things where you have to go like pages and pages down, and it was a lot of conventional stuff on there. I can't remember how many pages I went through. I kept on jumping several pages, and I was almost like giving up. And I think I went one more jump to God knows whatever it was, page 15 or something like that. And then it came up with a link on a website, and it was on vincentbridgeslegacy.com. Now, Vincent Bridges was the co-author of that Cross at Henday book with J. Widener, now sadly passed away. But he'd done an article on there, Dee and Shakespeare, the origins of the Hermetic Revolution in the Elizabethan theatre. Now, he was talking about this guy, Francis Garland, who I'd never heard of before and wasn't mentioned in any of the other books that I'm going to talk about in a bit. But it was a very interesting article when he was talking about this guy, Francis Garland, and how he knew Shakespeare. He knew John Dee. And Vincent Bridges was putting up Garland as being the real author of Shakespeare plays. He says, we knew Shakespeare left Avon around 1585, probably soon after the burns of the twins, Hamlet and Judith. We know nothing of what he was doing until the early 1590s when some of his plays were produced. The next firm date we have is April 18th, 1593, when his poem Venus and Adonis was registered in London. Francis Garland, I'll be talking about that later. Francis Garland appears in Dee's diary from December 1586 through March 1595, and in all that time we find not a single instance of Shakespeare being somewhere else when Francis Garland was visiting Dee. In fact, if we assume that Garland is Shakespeare, it appears that he visited Dee before the registration and publication of both Venus and Adonis and the Rape of Lucretia. I'm going to be talking about the importance of those two poems shortly. So there's a few links with dates. He's talking about, I think, Garland going out to see Dee. I think this is when Dee was actually in the Netherlands, which he went out to study. And so it's tempting to think that the young pupil Garland Shakespeare was showing his mentor his latest works of alchemical poetry. Venus and Adonis in particular is filled with alchemical symbolism. By Garland's last visit in 1595, it's possible that both Romeo and Juliet and A Midsummer Night's Dream were finished and read with approval by Dee. If we make the identification of Dee's Francis Garland with the rising playwright William Shakespeare, then most of the mysteries surrounding Shakespeare's life disappear like actors at the end of a play. A sudden light is thrown on the so-called lost years, and a real person, not a cipher or a mask, emerges. The young Will didn't waste his time holding horses in front of playhouses and apprentice as an actor. He went directly to the source of the national literary renaissance, the Sydney Group. And I'll be talking later about this group of brilliant young people, if you like, and playwrights, and this group that got together, and they were instrumental in this literary renaissance. And something that the person William Shakespeare, and there was a person called Shakespeare or something similar, but he wasn't really part of it. He was just a bit player actor, as well as being a merchant, and was involved with plays, just lending people money mainly. So this idea has developed that he was just really a cipher. His name was used as a cover for other people that actually wrote the plays. So anyway, Bridges is saying that this Garland was a talented poet. So he went off to Prague and met Dee there when he was doing his travels around Europe. So Bridges says, what of these plays? If we see Shakespeare as a poet who was also a spy, so there's links with him and this new intelligence service, as I was talking about, along with John Dee was involved, that came up in the Elizabethan era under Walsingham. And then after Walsingham, William Cecil, mention him in a bit later. Shakespeare was also a spy and an occultist. I did my talk on spies and occultism in the 20th century. It's amazing again how this thing links up, and now it all
goes back to Dee.
Yeah, well, he certainly seems to be around the beginning of most of these things, yeah, and all these connections. So it says, where did the theatre come from? Perhaps he was already interested in acting and playwriting when he met Dyer and Dee and Kelly, or perhaps the idea came from Dee, who was known from his youth for being interested in the mechanics of stagecraft. And if you remember when I was talking to Dee about Dee, I was saying how he sort of like invented this first ever special effects when he was at Oxford, and he got accused of witchcraft because he used this science of optics which he was developing, and he made this like visual illusion with his optics, so it looked like someone was flying through the sky on the back of this beetle as part of this production of an old Greek play. And people were so convinced that this was witchcraft that he got into a bit of trouble, and he sort of doubts ever after from that he had these linked with witchcraft. So, and at that early stage, it was linked in with the stage, with performance, with illusion in the theatre. So he definitely did have an interest in the theatre. It says here as well that many of the standard theatrical devices of the Elizabethan stage, such as ending a show with a curtain drop, apparently have their origins in Dee and Kelly's angelic workings. It's even likely that Dee designed the sacred geometry of the theatre space itself. Mm-hmm. The rise of Shakespeare's popularity in the mid-1590s represents a watershed for art, politics, and occultism. In the best sense of turning the wheel, this was truly revolutionary. Suddenly, very deep and powerful ideas were turned loose in the public consciousness without the control and interference of the church. The Elizabethan theatre was essentially a magical theatre, from the sacred geometry of the space in which they were presented to the subject matter and language of the plays themselves. And because of Dr. Dee's influence, this was a Hermetic revolution. This Hermetic revolution in the theatrical arts served as a starting point for further revolutions, both political and scientific. The Tempest, whose main character Prospero is thought by some scholars to be based on Dee and by others on Shakespeare himself, was performed for the marriage of Princess Elizabeth to Frederick V, the Elector Palatine of the Rhine in 1613. And I was just thinking of the Star Wars with the prequels. It was Emperor Palatine, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was.
Frederick
Palpatine.
Palpatine. Bit of a twist there, but as Colin Wolford has talked about, there's probably these, knowingly connections there. Frederick V would go on to become the King of Bohemia and the leader of the Protestant Revolution in Central Europe until he was deposed 1622. This was also the years when the Rosicrucian manifestos were circulating, attracting minds such as that of Leibniz and leading the way toward the royal societies in England and France. Dee's work, particularly his Monus Hieroglyphica from 1564, was a major influence on Rosicrucian philosophy, and there are echoes of Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream in the alchemical wedding of Christian Rosencrantz. Dee and Kelly's alchemical work and the work of their followers can be seen as the origins of modern chemistry and physics, in the same way Shakespeare's plays are the origin point of modern psychology. And of course, of theatre, fiction, because so much of what came afterwards, right up to modern drama that you get, films and TV, it had some basis from Shakespearean drama. And obviously, continually, there's always redoings of Shakespeare plays, modern versions. People seem to never tire of, not just on the stage, but also in film and TV, redoing Shakespeare. So I thought it was interesting, as I say, a complete link with the alchemical book that I was talking about in the previous week. Says, once we begin to see Shakespeare in the light of his years as Francis Garland and begin to appreciate the deep and long-lasting influence of Dee on Shakespeare's life and development, the outlines of a larger plan emerges. Dr. Dee had lost none of his missionary fervour, which had launched a long exodus to begin with. I think this was when he was going around Europe trying to spread his influence and get patronage from these different kings, royalty, noble people around Europe, and meet up with sort of like-minded people. After his return in 1589, it was simply channeled in a different direction towards perhaps the growing Hermetic revolution in the Elizabethan theatre, spearheaded by his old pupil Garland or William Shakespeare. One last point, the 1623 collection of Shakespeare's works opens with The Tempest. His friends who published it must have known his connection to John Dee and gave the pride of place to the play that makes the point most clearly. From Shakespeare's point of view, the play can be seen as both a nod towards his old mentor, and as a salute and elegy to his own career as a magician and hermetic revolutionary. He could expect no less from a friend like Francis Garland. So there's a different perspective there. But again, it's talking of the influence of Dee. And I guess I'd sort of think myself that it's maybe more that rather than saying Dee was the author, but his philosophy, obviously his knowledge of all these ancient philosophies, the hermetic philosophy, alchemy, these sort of things, the way they came through as an undercurrents as I go into a bit more of the text. So I can see him as certainly being a huge influence. But the other one that Israel Diego Diego Rivera mentioned was Francis Bacon. That's the next picture we have.
We couldn't find a picture of that Garland bloke.
No, well, I mean, I'd never heard him being mentioned.
Garland, perhaps the upcoming film Civil War by Alex Garland is using some similar tactics.
Oh, Alex Garland, he was the guy who did The Beach, wasn't it? I think, and many other since as a filmmaker. That'd be interesting. So yeah, Francis Bacon. So he's another one of those. There's a big camp of people who say
he's a big camp.
who say he was the real author of Shakespeare plays. And another has been said, early Rosicrucian, another bit of a genius, a bit of a polymath of all these different areas of expertise, and like a founder of modern science. I think a lawyer, philosopher, but he had all this again, great knowledge of the esoteric, but also while laying the grounds for modern scientific thinking. But well, so to go in, one theme of what I'm talking about is this idea of Shakespeare not being the true author of the plays, and it being, in Nick Collestrom's words, the greatest literary hoax of all time. But as Collestrom writes, he doesn't feel, I've had other people say this as well, that he's likely to again be the author, as he's more of a lawyer, scientist, not a creative writer. Apparently he's quoted as saying, "For poets I commend none, being ever resolved to be a stranger to them." Apparently he doing his legal duties, even if he knew someone was innocent, he wasn't opposed to doing a bit of torture to extract a confession. So he had certainly wasn't just someone who was pure science. he had his very questionable connections, and wasn't opposed to misusing the law, I suppose. So that could be interesting in the light of other things that we're going to talk about. But again, certainly someone who likely to be involved with the publication of the plays, and also as someone who is incredibly knowledgeable about all this background of all these different philosophies and history. He could well be another person who was an influence. So he did oversee, Bacon, apparently, the publication of the first folio of Shakespeare's works, which was published 1619, 1621. Because it's interesting to think of that, because the plays, I think, started to be produced from, I think, something like the 1570s, something like that, in terms of the plays being put on in the theatres. But in terms, obviously, it was very different then in terms of actually having things published and written down. It wasn't like today where you could go into a bookshop and buy books. And so that's another thing to be considered. There could also be a big difference between plays that were put on in the theatre, and obviously there is records of some of these plays being performed at different stages. But as people have said, often the actors and Shakespeare, this man from Stratford upon Avon, was known to be an actor, but often, as possibly with Shakespeare, they often weren't literate, and they weren't. It was very where they performed, like where the Globe. Obviously, there's a reconstruction of the Globe Theatre now on the South Bank, in very close to where the original one was. But that South Bank was known. It was separate from the rest of the city of London. All the established stuff of London was over the top of the north side of the river. So the South Bank, it was a place of disrepute. It was where they had bear baiting and prostitution, and it was a real dodgy place. But amongst that was also where the theatres grew up. It was in that context that how theatres were seen. They were seen as being a bit of a disreputable profession. So, and yeah, a lot of the actors were illiterate, so they would have sort of learnt their lines off by heart. They would have been told them and had to learn them, and I presume, you know, they would have said them differently when they were performing them, and it would have got changed a bit or a lot and evolved. So what they performed on stage was probably very different, even if you're just presuming that one person wrote the plays and it was William Shakespeare. Even so, what came out, what finally got printed in this first folio, this collection of all these plays, I think it's something like 36 plays, it was probably completely different. And Bacon oversaw this publication, and there's this Northumberland manuscript which has got several mentions of Shakespeare within it, and several of the plays, and it quotes from the poem Rape of Lucretia: "Revealing day through every cranny peeps." And I thought that was quite a nice little quote. This idea again of something being hidden but peeping through, that's slightly obscured. I remember when I was learning Shakespeare at school, I remember the teacher saying, "Oh, you know," kept on going on about, "Oh, things are not what they seem," and that's the common theme of the plays. Things are not what they seem, and that's very much something that we know is a theme that's been going on ever since, and getting bigger and bigger, where we can't trust what we see, and there's so much behind the scenes that's not truly visible. But this manuscript, it had 3 words on the back put into type. So basically Bacon was the one who put it into publication. And then if you go on to the next picture, Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson, sorry.
No, that's what I was reading.
Oh. If you want to jump in with any comments, if anyone said anything, but so another big brain of the Elizabethan and Jacobean time, you know. So I think he's supposed to have written or compiled the first ever dictionary, I think. Also a notable playwright in his own right. He wrote a play called The Alchemist. I think that was mainly as a satire on people who was trying to who were fake, if you like, and were trying to get influence and power by deception. And it was sort of satire, taking the mickey out of those kind of people. But he was allegedly Francis Bacon's assistant for a while, and he's Ben Jonson. And apparently oversaw the publication of this first folio, and he wrote like a foreword introduction to it, when he was supposedly saying as part of that that he knew Shakespeare and sort of eulogizing about him. But it's a bit ambiguous the way that he refers to him. So this first folio, 36 plays, 18 had never before been printed. No dates of the composition of the plays, no personal author remarks. But as I say, he's another like big brain, and he was certainly around. And so again, as I said, even if there was a Shakespeare who wrote some form of play that was put on in the stage, by this time, years later, when this first folio came out after Shakespeare the person died, you know, Bacon quite clearly could have edited it, maybe with the influence of Bacon, who had all this philosophical ancient knowledge. So certainly they could have completely rewritten and put their own words, even if there was a basis from someone else. So Johnson, he did spend some time in prison for, I think he was accused of blasphemy for one of the plays that he wrote. So there's definitely, like I was saying, around the D talk, it was a tumultuous time with all these different people succeeding to the throne, and there were all these battles for power, like a Shakespeare play, if you like. But there was all this censorship, as we know, certainly is a thing that's still going on now. And people could get in trouble. They could get locked up, and they could even lose their lives. They could lose, any influence, money that they had, if they produced something which someone decided they didn't like. So Nick Colostrom, we could go on to the next picture. So it's a book that I've been reading, which is sort of draws together a lot of the different views of who was actually the writer of the plays. But he's very clear that Colostrom thinks it's nonsense that this idea of this guy from Stratford called William Shakespeare wrote all the plays. And there was lots of reasons why people who were prominent, and they're going to mention a few others in time as well, that were named as possible authors, why they wouldn't want their name to be on the play, because it could get them into trouble. So they wanted someone who was a fool guy, if you like, although obviously it's not a bad position to be in, because he's a fool guy that's now revered by people the world over as being like the greatest writer ever. But
makes sense, doesn't it?
But yeah, you can see why a lot of these people would want someone else to stand in for him. And Colostrom saying that the actors in that time knew that if there was, and often the plays came out in the earlier years, and the author was Shake-Speare was how it was written.
It's like they're patsy.
Yeah.
So if anybody got into trouble, it wouldn't be them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I do remember Nick Colostrom talking on our friend Ben's Panwo show some time ago, and he was suggesting that the works were done in collaboration, so several people writing them together, performing them together, and some people that had quite remarkable talents and accomplishments, but a group effort. And this makes sense to me. When I was at university, I remember there being a lecturer who she was massively into the Elizabethan Shakespearean era and the plays of the time and all the history of it, but she hated Shakespeare. But I remember she coming to it from the point of view of that it was crazy to eulogize this one guy as like a hero. She wasn't coming from it to the point of view of these who say, oh no, it was written by this other famous person necessarily, but just that from what she knew about how theatre worked in that era, plays were written as they were written fast and furiously, and it was like you had to get a play out, and it was written as a collaboration. Lots of different people were writing bits of it, and as I say, there was stuff as well where the actors would probably improvise, or they would things would get changed during productions, and that still happens now. You get like teams of writers on Hollywood and TV series in America, particularly the big corporate things, and they're often writing to an agenda, and there's it's even if one person comes up with a major idea, you know, it's hacked about, and you know, it's quite often, even with big famous directors, they don't like the way that their stuff gets changed about. Is not what they intended, because it's got someone decides with a lot of money in the TV film companies that they want to get it changed, and we know there's lots of agendas now with how things they want people to see certain things on screen. So yeah, she was just coming from the point of view that as part of Elizabethan theatre, the plays wouldn't be one auteur, as I suppose they term with movie directors now. It would be the influence of so many different people. So I thought of that when with this what Collestrom's was saying, but in Collestrom's book he's talking about people who were quite sort of elite people that were involved with writing this, you know, and Collestrom, he himself says it's brilliant work, you know. He's saying, you know, let's get away from the idea that it's just a Shakespeare, but he's not saying that you shouldn't still admire the writing, and it's still brilliant writing, and there's so much within it, but you just need to detach yourself from the illusion and from the hoax. So I think there's probably quite a lot of that comes up to the present day when you can say that. So the actual William Shakespeare, apparently he was very poorly educated, and there's so many illusions, as I'm going to go into in a bit, with so much, you know, historical, mythological allusions. There's some ridiculous amount of words that were invented in the English language by him. And if you go into the next picture, it's like apparently he could barely sign his name, or there's 5 different known or supposed known signatures of William Shakespeare, and they're all, you know, completely different. So it's like, you know, was he even literate? Was he even capable of writing very much at all, let alone, you know, by many people's estimation, the greatest works of literature? And
it looks like it's been written slowly, as if he's tried to copy it.
Yeah.
You know, when you slowly trying to draw a shape.
Yeah, when someone's trying to fake it.
Yeah, when they're trying to copy something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I won't go into details with it, but that reminds me of this Derrida, this sort of French philosopher. But you know, he used to write about all this stuff about how language you can't trust it, and it's all, you know, what it's supposed to mean, you can't hold its meaning. And one of the things he talked about was the signature, and the signature is supposed to be this authentic thing, like you sign. I know that's going out the window now with digital, but you know, traditionally you sign something to prove it's you. So if you're signing the deeds to a house or signing a check going back a million years, so that's supposed to be your proof of that it's really you. But I know my signature changes, and everyone, you know, to a certain extent, and it's the idea, if you keep reproducing it, it loses its authenticity. But anyway, he just seems like the perfect embodiment of that.
That looks like it's written really slowly, like when you're trying to copy a picture or something. Yeah. You know, when you do it. Yeah, but when you've done a signature loads of times, you do it fast. Yeah. Okay, maybe it looks slightly different, like the tail's longer or something.
But that's like, looks like if you're trying to fake someone else's signature. Yeah. Not that I've ever tried to do that, people. Obviously, you must understand.
It looks like it's been written slowly and without confidence, as if it's trying to make it look like something.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Collestrom refers to this book published in 1622. So after Shakespeare had died, or the Stratford bloke. So, and this guy in this book listed 7 greatest deceased writers of the Elizabethan era. So I mentioned 7, one of whom we're going to come up to in a minute, Edward, Earl of Oxford, Edward de Vere. But Shakespeare isn't mentioned. So this was a few years after his death. A list of 7 deceased writers, probably none of which anyone, or most people wouldn't recognise any of the names now, but Shakespeare wasn't even mentioned. So I think we've got a next picture of one of Shakespeare's. This thing is supposed gravestone. I thought it's quite interesting because it's got like epitaph there for Shakespeare, but it's like blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones, which is a bit like a sort of jokey limerick for this supposed the great poet sort of thing. But I also thought it's like don't move my bones. It's like, why? What's in there? Is there anything in there? Did he really exist? It's like yeah, don't dig me up. Don't dig up the bones, because you might find something that's not,
or not find something.
Well, yeah. So yes, as I was saying, Ben Jonson wrote the preface to the first folio, this first printing of all of the plays, the collected works type thing. But apparently he wrote pieces which he attributed to these actors who knew Shakespeare, sort of implying that they'd been the ones to gather together these plays. I think these actors were then dead as well, so they couldn't say, oh, hang on, it's not us. But Collishaw said these actors were probably illiterate as well. So these pieces that Jonson wrote and said it was them that had composed it, probably again another fiction, as creating an artifice. So and this idea around the tombs, or there was something put up in Stratford a few years after Shakespeare died, like had this sort of bust, the sort of image of Shakespeare, like the paintings like we put up at the start, but it had him sort of resting on a sack, like of grain or something, because that's what he was best known as a merchant. And it's sort of later on, I think a few years later, apparently some anonymous people came up from London and they put this, I think maybe we got it for the next quote, can't remember if we got it or not.
Yeah.
And then they put this more literary inscription, stay passenger, why goest, by so past. And it's at the end, he hath writ, leaves living art, but page to serve his wit. So they put this literary thing.
So basically, the first one was a limerick.
I don't know. Again, I'm not quite sure if that came later or not.
And then the second one is "Thou shalt passenger goest," and the first one's like, "There was a young man from Chelsea." Yeah.
But also, as I say, these sort of images as well. As I say, the original one was him with a sack of grain, and then but later there's and now you've got it, go to Stratford and there's ones in a similar position, but instead of the sack of grain is mysteriously gone, and now he's like holding a pen and there's paper there, as you would expect.
Fake news.
But as I say, a few years after his death, what went up there in Stratford was him with a sack of corn. For the greatest playwright of his age and every age since, probably doesn't seem like anyone at the time had a clue that was what I mean. Bit fishy indeed. So, as I say, there is this connection with the possible authors of the plays to this emerging intelligence service. As I was talking about with Dee, there's Walsingham in Elizabethan era credited with beginning the very first intelligence services, getting all these spies. A lot of it against Catholics, worried about Catholics trying to take over the country.
Catholics worried about Catholics?
They were worried about Catholics.
What the Catholics were?
In the Elizabethan time, it had gone after Protestant, after Henry VIII.
Who were worried about Catholics?
Well, Walsingham.
Oh.
And
what was he?
It was basically credited with starting the intelligence services.
But was he a Protestant?
Yeah.
Like Protestants worried about Catholics.
Yeah, because it was.
There we go.
It was this.
Moving on.
These sort of religious wars, basically undercurrents going on there. When Walsingham died,
apparently De Vere was buried under the monument of Shakespeare in the Abbey.
Oh,
Johnny
very interesting. Johnny Factor comes up with the genius. Oh, we'll mention De Vere in a minute, but yeah, a bit more. So very shortly. So William Cecil, I think he's next.
I don't think we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Probably could have just put up any picture
He's
of a bloke
going to play pool. He's going down the
pub. So William Cecil took over from Walsingham, and then it went to his son Robert, who became Lord Salisbury. And apparently he was a bit short. No one liked him. Deformed spine. So the same, very much like a model of Richard III. You know, My Kingdom for a Horse.
What are you doing?
I was doing like Olivier doing Richard III.
What are you doing?
The Hunchback, wasn't
It's very strange
Yeah.
from this angle.
So as Colostrum, he talks about the literary hoax about Shakespeare, but he also talks obviously around the same time of the Gunpowder Plot, and about how that was if you like, maybe the original, or certainly in our modern era around here, the original false flag terror attack. So by that time, it was Elizabeth had died and James I came to power. So he was king in Scotland, and then he came down to rule. So that's when it became Britain, and he was king of it all. So again, as I say, they were worried about this Catholicism, Catholics trying to take power. Or anyway, there was a created fear with the likes of this intelligence services people. And there was also connections as well with...
Ben's just come in.
Hey!
Has it started yet?
Good to see you, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
We've given you a few mentions. You'd have to look back over the... Yeah. So discussing partly, Ben, as you had him on your programme, Nick Colostrum, talking about the Shakespeare hoax. FAKEspeare hoax. But as I say, Colostrum also talking about the Gunpowder Plot, and why not saying that they're intricately linked, Shakespeare and the Gunpowder Plot, but there is some connections with people of that time in both hoaxes. So just briefly to say with the Gunpowder Plot, again, Colostrum. I know he's not the first, and he references people in the book that have talked about it. But again, it's got classic things like now you get the patsies like, bless him, Guy Fawkes, and it then became, as did Shakespeare, and obviously in a very different way. But Guy Fawkes became part of the British culture, and he had like Penny for the Guy, and it was Guy Fawkes Night, and his effigy was burned around the country like every year for centuries, and it still goes on now, although it's lost out to Halloween now in terms of but it was this classic we see now. It sets up this supposed enemy from within and without. There was like Catholic countries like Spain, which Britain were in opposition to, and all the political shenanigans going on. So they wanted to create, people in Britain thinking, oh no, they're bad, and also Catholics within Britain seen as possible terrorists, which is what happened after the Gunpowder Plot. But there was all these people who had connections with these intelligence service people who were either sort of double agents, and you read into it, and there's lots again, strange letters which people mysteriously get, and that's like, oh, you should look out for someone trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. It's like, oh, and it was spun a story that James I himself had like seen this letter and gone, oh, I think you should search under the Houses of Parliament. I think there's a plot going on.
He went, oh, get you.
Yeah, but in a Scottish accent.
Ugh, racist.
Scottish Elizabethan accent.
What the fuck is that?
So William Cecil, as I say, took over from Walsingham in this intelligence agency. He had a daughter, Anne, who married this Edward de Vere, Earl of Oxford. So we can have a picture next of Edward de Vere, who was mentioned by Jennifer. Right, so that was William Cecil, an early spy master.
Oh, get you.
So Edward de Vere now.
What's he got in his hand?
Well, see, that's it. That's why I wanted that picture.
Let's make it bigger.
Specifically, because this.
I can't see.
picture.
Got my dark glasses on because I've got an headache, not because I'm mad. I am mad. Carry on.
So many people think he was the real writer of the plays.
Try and get them bigger.
So that thing which you mentioned that he's got in his hand, apparently it's like an emblem of his family. And it's a wild boar, and
tiny little thing.
Apparently it's a wild boar, and I am going to come on to the wild boar in a moment. So William Cecil had a daughter Anne, married Edward de Vere, and then they had 3 daughters, and each were married. Each of these daughters was married or engaged to a person who Shakespeare dedicated work to. Just little links there. So there's again a link with possible author of Shakespeare's plays to this head of the intelligence services. De Vere as a child was looked after by Cecil in this house in the Strand they had, and this Strand house was also linked to around the people in the gunpowder plot. So again, there's connections there that these people involved with the Shakespeare were also intricately involved with these deceptions on a political terror level, false flags. So he was a cousin of Queen Elizabeth de Vere, a courtier from a youth, and I think he was basically the chief courtier for Elizabeth I.
And he's hiding one of his hands.
Oh yeah, that's a classic thing, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what William does as well.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll come on to him later on. So yeah, just again to connect. Apparently, Colostrum just making. He's not saying they're intricately connected to Shakespeare, but saying again some of the key players are in both. He was saying after the Gunpowder Plot, a couple of Shakespeare's darkest plays, Macbeth, King Lear, came out. Ben Jonson, who I mentioned earlier, he said Colostrum saw he would be aware of both plots. He was a convert to Catholicism, Ben Jonson. He apparently had dinner with the supposed plotters a couple of weeks before this supposed Gunpowder Plot was revealed. So he was a bit in a vulnerable position. He had been in court for not going to an Anglican church service. So I think, maybe what Colostrum's suggesting is maybe he could then have been used because he was in a vulnerable position. So it's like, right, you've got to do our bidding. And as I say, he was like this, putting out this first folio of Shakespeare's stuff, writing this dodgy introduction to it, saying, oh yeah, I knew Shakespeare. So you've got all these connections with the intelligence services with these works of art coming out. So there were other candidates apart from de Vere, Francis Bacon. There was a Henry Wriothesley, third Earl of Southampton, which some early works of Shakespeare were dedicated to. He was years later arrested with the Earl of Essex for fomenting rebellion. Although he'd been the Queen's favourite, he was locked in the Tower in 1601 and was there until James I took power. Earl of Essex wanted religious tolerance, and many that were later arrested in the Gunpowder Plot supported him in that. And this Earl of Southampton was spared, and they reckon that could have been because of this de Vere, because as I say, he was quite a prominent courtier in the royalty. So you've got this connection. As I say, de Vere is reckoned by many to be one of the favourites to be the author. I think it's probably going to be that there's, like I say, I think it's quite a strong feeling that there's a group of them. Maybe there was one stronger than most. Maybe this de Vere. Apparently, he was known as being a playwright. He was involved with his father as well, with setting up theatrical groups. He was known to be able to speak several languages. He spent time in Italy. A lot of the Shakespeare plays took place in Italy. there's when you got these the first sort of lot of the plays that came out under Shakespeare's name were like the history plays, as they're called now. These different going through the history of these different kings, and quite often they're like characters that he mentions, whatever earl of this or that, and they were in the lineage, like in his family tree, and he was sort of bigging them up, like, oh yeah, this earl put the crown on King what's his face's head,
His face?
and that was, you know, his ancestor. So sort of hints there that he certainly had a connection with the writing. So yeah, someone who was very close to Queen Elizabeth, and again, as someone who was a courtier within the royal court, he couldn't be seen to be a playwright because it wasn't the done thing. So this group, they used to go, and the theatre group that included Shakespeare the actor, did go around to a lot of the, you know, all these stately homes, and they used to perform plays, sometimes to the royalty as well, but also within these nobility. So I think it makes sense that, and I think there's a time when De Vere, he's sort of laying low in London and nothing much is seen from him for years. And that corresponds with this time when Shakespeare isn't producing much, supposedly, but then all these great works, sort of the big tragedies and stuff, come out later. So he had a great interest in astronomy with his friend Lord Derby. Derby is a friend of John Dee, that's documented, and also John Donne, the poet, who used some alchemical references within his poems. But yeah, very interested in astronomy, and John Dee was a known influence, and they would certainly have brought these things into the plays. So the Shakespeare pseudonym was used first for their best-selling allegorical poem Venus and Adonis. I think we've got a Venus and Adonis somewhere, haven't we? Picture, yeah. And then that was followed by just like a long there we go, and that was followed by another long poem, The Rape of Lucretia. Nice. So it's 1593, 1594. So this Shakespeare, whoever he was praised for Venus and Adonis, but not for the plays that he'd done up to that point. He was more known for this long poem. So that so we go now really to, let's stick with Venus and Adonis, but I'm going to mention, we'll go into a moment with Ted Hughes' analysis. Let's go to his picture. So this book, I bought this.
There's the boar.
Yes, so that is the boar. So I got this like decades ago. I think it was some little book club where you got like a cheap deal and then you cancelled it because you got like 2 cheap books, and then so never got round to reading it, but always been fascinated by the idea of it. I think, again, one of these things where even when I was much younger, I was just interested in this idea that there was something mythical and perhaps spiritual, or, you know, something symbolic on a different level to the surface level, within things, within anything, and in this case we're in Shakespeare. But unfortunately I was never inspired enough to read it until now, so it's good that we're doing this talk, because it actually inspired me to read this through, and it is a brilliant. So Ted Hughes, as I'm sure many will be aware, it was a renowned poet in his own right. He became poet laureate at one point, well, probably infamous to many because it was what's the name?
Oh,
Right of the Bell Jar. People in the chat will know.
Pardon?
There's an American poet, woman, wrote The Bell Jar. Anyway, Ted Hughes was married to her, or in a relationship to her, and sort of dumped her, and then she committed suicide. I've had a blank on her name. Sylvia Plath. There we go.
Well, you should know her. You're all about her.
Oh, I just wanted to say Edith Piaf.
No, but you've got loads of books by Sylvia Plath, haven't you?
No, I haven't got any.
Why do I know her name then?
I don't know. Well, she's quite well known.
Oh, anyway.
But anyway, she committed suicide, and as I say, he dumped her, so there was a lot of.
DJ got it.
He got, yeah.
Give him an extra point. He's won again.
So yeah, he got a lot of stick for that. You know, a lot of feminists saying, you know, it's all down to him that committed anyway, that's completely nothing to do with this. So within this book, Shakespeare and the Goddess of Complete Being, he argues that these two early long poems that were right at the beginning of Shakespeare's body of work, Shakespeare, whoever that was, from those two plays, there was like, which were both came from these old classical stroke pagan legends, which were then adapted into these long poems, which say were bestsellers at the time. He argues that there were themes from those two poems that Shakespeare then, through this, made what he called what Hughes calls a tragic equation, which then is like an undercurrent, a theme that goes through all of his work, through all of his plays. So Venus and Adonis, an ancient myth, lots of different versions. Shakespeare followed the Ovid version, so going back to the Roman poet Ovid, and I know Crow 777 did a very interesting thing on Ovid.
Yeah, see Ovid 19.
Yeah,
so
1 to 9, wasn't it? Books
yeah,
1
and I
to 9,
read it out, didn't I? I did a video, see Ovid 19.
Yeah, no, interesting.
I read it out.
So in the Ovid version, so Venus is this goddess of like ideal love, not lust, but you know, an ideal love. She falls for Adonis, this sort of perfect sort of god, falls in love with him. In the Ovid version, the different versions much earlier, but in the Ovid one, it's reciprocated. Adonis, you know, he falls in love with her as well, Venus, but she's pleading with him not to go hunting, but he insists, and he's killed by a wild boar. And in the sort of style of Ovid metamorphosis, Adonis is then turned into a flower. Venus flies off with the flower between her breasts, kissing it and cherishing it. In the Rape of Lucretia, there's this character Tarquin who desires his pure and innocent Lucretia, and he rapes her and I think causes her death. Nasty. Hughes sort of saying partly he thinks the Venus and Adonis myth is bringing in elements of Catholicism, the Rape of Lucretia, Puritanism, and I'm saying there's this sort of bit of a holy war under the surface at this time. Under Elizabeth I, it was sort of suspended. There was some tolerance of the Catholics.
Hi, Woody Black.
Hello, Woody Black. But then, and it says, Hughes says Shakespeare seems to have been focused on this theme by some obsessive private experience. So again, I said there's all this stuff around the Catholicism and the gunpowder plot hoax, whether that comes into it or not. But so Shakespeare, or as I say, you know, that's the thing, you know, he was the actual man, William Shakespeare, merchant, illiterate actor. There's so many allusions, references to all these myths, legends, histories. It's unlikely. I mean, even if I'm quite up for the idea, like the creative genius, and who's someone who's not got any education but has a brilliant talent in whatever it may be, and there's something. I'm up for that sort of, some sort of inspiration where you can come up with some great art without having any formal education in whatever it may be. You know, I think that could be a thing. But if you're then including allusions to all these, you must know about, or, you know, the person who wrote these plays and poems must have known, or certainly did know about all these ancient myths, legends.
They were educated.
Yeah. So it's not going to be.
They didn't sit on a sack of grain.
Indeed. Indeed not. So, so this Venus and Adonis myth, it relates. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about the other week on the alchemy, relates to the Egyptian myth of Horus, Isis, and Osiris. And I was going to mention again in this great video by Israel Diego Rivera 2, he refers as well to I think he was saying with the eclipse. I think, you know, when you got like these images when they got on a map, like the sort of corridor where you can see the eclipse from, and if you look at the map of the eclipses that have been visible from America, it makes a triangle, and
see if I can find it.
So this,
I mean, it's the crossroads,
right? So this links to all this symbolism. The idea of the Trinity. This talked before about the power of three, but this Pythagorean, the right angle triangle is very important Pythagorean theorem, and it's very important in Freemasonry. Diego played a clip of someone referring to
like that.
Yeah,
kind of. That's not the one he showed.
No, because it's more of a exact triangle. But yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, check out Israel Diego Rivera's video to see it on there. And someone was talking about 33-degree Masons have to meditate on the importance of this triangle. And the Washington DC has got this within the layout of the city. So what they were saying in there is the upright on the triangle is the male aspect, if you like. The horizontal is the female, and then the hypotenuse that links the two is the divine child. And they were saying this connects up to this myth of Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Horus being the divine child. So there's all these different origins of these myths that, as I say, have come through into the poems that Shakespeare is writing. Babylonian creation myths, and you get this idea of this idea of a double goddess. So a goddess which is like pure love and fertility, and then, if you like, the evil goddess, which is the goddess of the underworld, the queen of hell, as you could call it in another word. And then you get the origins of these legends that goes into the idea of Persephone and Demeter, where they like spend so many months in underground in hell, and then for other months they're allowed to come up, and that sort of symbolizes when, you know, it's spring and suddenly everything starts growing again. So all these legends are connected in. So and this, as I say, is.
This has got nothing to do with what Mark's talking about.
What's that about?
I'm just having a private chat with DJ. Mind your bloody business.
Oh, I see. Is it right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mind your own bloody business.
Okay. So.
Cosmic egg. Hey,
yeah. All right. within these legends as well, you have the idea of the god released, reborn from a tree, as if by cesarean birth, and that comes out, as we'll talk about later, in Macbeth, because he can't be killed by.
Do you want me to find some pictures? I'm bored of the pig now.
Well, yeah, get
what
some.
Do you want?
Well, I don't know. Just get
Mark.
I don't know.
Macbeth.
Yeah. We'll get on to him in a bit. So, as I say, so there's legends again of the god coming from a tree, and also this guy in the Tempest, this final important play of Shakespeare's. Prospero, the magician, releases this sprite. Oh, that's a good one. Sprite Ariel, who does all his bidding to create all this magic, releases her from a tree. So I just had a thought. It's just a passing thought. It's always a bit of a diversion, but this idea of reproduction, which being a renewal of life, which is something natural and which is good. And but now you've got there's a different meaning to term, or an alternative meaning, which is reproduction. Like if you reproduce something, again talking about signatures, if you reproduce something, it's something artificial. It's if you like, it's a robot version, or it's a manufactured version, or it's something that's not real. So there's so many things with double meanings. And you're going to do Macbeth, the witch is double,
Toil
boiling
and
trouble,
trouble.
yeah. So
now then, no, Savile, he used to do things like that.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So sorry if this gets it's a bit tricky, but within these legends, there's also ideas of that a god becomes incarnated in a king, and so I suppose that comes into where you got the divine rights of kings into the time here we're talking about in the Elizabethan, etc. and almost
divine right of king.
Yeah, but well, I suppose the royalty themselves would they would see that as still being a thing, that they've got some divine right or something, a right of something supernatural. So you get then, as I say, the identity of the god with the king, but there's then a thing where the king needs to be sacrificed to be reborn. And there's often it's like a ritual murder of the goddess's consort, or a sacrificial substitute, or sometimes from this god becomes like a murderous double from at the goddess's behest to usurp the reigning consort.
Oh.
Now I thought of that. Now again, obviously Diego mentioning all these things. But yeah, you look at it in the common time now, and is it
stripy jumper?
Is it a thing? Yeah, where as has been supposed, and Diana again was a goddess, and she was seen as like a pure So there was all those connections there with her. So yeah, it could well be coming to time, as Israel Diego refers to, that they're bringing in this symbology now, because it is about this supposedly. The king is dead, long live the king. And it's like it's the idea of, and this does come, I might do a future talk on it. It comes into, I think, around the Grail legends and King Arthur, and this idea that when the land is suffering and going through hardship, the sacrifice to the king, and then to have a new king in his place, that will make the whole country be reborn. So it's all this connection with. So I think that
they put
a
could be spin on it, but it's reborn in what they want.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the kings and the gods that we're talking about don't come from a good place.
No, 100%. But I'm just saying that's where I think they are playing with this imagery. So in this Adonis myth, I think going back to the original versions of it, there was like a fatal double of Adonis, which was the god Mars, Aphrodite's jealous lover, who took the form of a wild boar and killed Adonis.
Oh yeah.
So there's various different overlaying of myths. So there's versions as well where Adonis is killed by this Persephone, queen of the underworld, again in the form of a boar, or in some other forms of it, it's killed by some replacement, some double, nasty version of the god or hero, who kills him again in the form of a boar. And as I said, this was De Vere's family symbol. So a double life of the boar from the Queen of Hell and from a murderous rival or brother. And these, what Hughes is saying is this is basically a theme throughout Shakespeare's works. I mean, particularly you get it, you know, if you think of the tragedies. You know, within Macbeth, he kills like the king at the time, Duncan. So he's sort of like a bad brother to the king, if you like, or the murderous double. But then it sort of switches round, and he has his double, if you like, the noble Macduff, will kill him. That's really crushing the concept of it there, really. But so Hugh says Venus was a token in this vast goddess complex behind so many religions as they've come out, and I sort of was going through a bit with the alchemy talk about how these sort of bases from all these ancient alchemical, hermetic legends, myths, and how they went through and formed through these different what became major religions through into our day. And these goddess religions were an influence on Christianity. So, I mean, there was some really mad versions, like different religions, like over the years, you know, enacting all this sort of ideas of ritual death, ecstatic worshippers castrating themselves.
Oh Christ! Hold
yeah.
on a minute. What's happening to the whole fucking world at the moment?
Well, yeah. There's all that going on.
Chop it off.
And I was just thinking, the effigy. Obviously, we burned this effigy of Guy Fawkes for God knows how many years. Look at all the ritual in that. Again, that's a sort of sacrifice of this.
It wasn't Starbucks. It was
Costa Coffee. So just running lots of tales of people being castrated and all sorts of things.
It's not on it. Oh, here it is. It's not.
Yeah.
We don't go to Costa anymore because of this. That was on the side of their van.
Yeah.
Basically, a woman has had her boobs cut off. So
yeah.
It's all just chopping stuff off.
Yeah. No.
Sacrificing.
Yeah. So as Hugh says, in Shakespeare's equation, the charge of the boar is a big spark leaping the gap and detonating the tragic explosion. And that sort of language, you know, made me think of alchemy, this sort of transference of energy that results in a transformation, whether it's good or bad. So through these Greek and Roman legends, there were these Eleusinian mysteries. There's those ideas of ritual death coincided with a sacred marriage and rebirth, and revolved around the great goddesses Demeter and this divine child Iachos, a form of Dionysus. So yeah, as I say, you know, all these different old societies that had these versions, these different legends, and how intricate they were to the society. So the Babylonian New Year festival, on the shortest day, the old king pretended to be killed, went into a tomb, and a young substitute came out, or, you know, was presented, given titles as if he was the new king, and married to the queen. But and so he has like a day, this substitute king of like, hey, I'm the king, I can do anything I like. You can, but then after that, he's torn to pieces in lots of nasty ways, as like some sacrifice. And on the third day, king comes out of the tomb, born again from the underworld.
Have some chocolate.
Indeed. Well, we have.
And these kings, we're doing all this sacrifice to what gods?
Oh well, this is, you're gonna have to do a whole new talk on this, aren't you? But
well, I am.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. So yeah, as I mean, I was gobsmacked a little bit, although not too much, because this is the way that things go. But when I was reading Ted Hughes' book, right, going through the introduction, and he starts talking about John Dee, and also about this influence of occult Neoplatonism on the works of Shakespeare, and these things that came through to the Rosicrucians, etc., like the Kabbalah with a C, the Christian Kabbalah, where they replace the God in the Jewish Kabbalah, I think, with this Christ. A lot of the Kabbalah symbolism, these ideas of mental maps, and making visual images like a mnemonic, and using it as a stairway from the lower hell through intermediate worlds to some divine source. And this again is a sort of an alchemic, going through different processes to come from base material, if you like, up to gold stroke some sort of spiritual attainment. So again, Hughes was talking about a lot of these alchemical ideas, which again I've been talking about on my previous talk. So yeah, he mentions the influence of Dee, and also an Italian, Bruno, talked about magically animated imagination. Francis Bacon, as I said, who we brought up earlier, was very much interested in Neoplatonism, wrote a work called New Atlantis. I think looking at this idea that there'd be this ideal world where science reigned supreme, and these things fed into the formation of the Royal Society. So Bacon, as I say, was involved with this group of these, if you like, bright young things, but including some very talented people like De Vere. So I think it makes sense to me that they that there was a lot of thought went into these works, which seems like an understatement, but far more than just theatre. But within these ideas of using theatre writing to convey messages, and I was talking before in the alchemy talk about how they would encode these different alchemical things in myths, and then later in songs like the troubadours, when they talk about these the Grail myths, and it's a way of passing along this occult knowledge. So maybe Shakespeare's works are this huge repository of this knowledge, and as Hughes describes it, it's by going through the various tribulations of the characters. It's a bit like, well, maybe you think of what, not that I know anything much about it in detail at all, but Tibetan Buddhism, there's the idea that there's a pantheon of all these different gods and demons, and the interaction of them on this plane of the imagination. It's like aspects of psychology, and by the dramas, if you like, of these beings within the imagination, you can get some sort of transformation, or at least understanding of things. I remember always having a thought about Shakespeare. Again, I didn't know details about his life, and I hadn't really gone into any of this stuff about other people wrote it or anything like that. But it just seemed to me, on some sort of like spiritual level, it was like an empty space. It was just like where this, like a conduit for the times, because it was in this time where the Renaissance and so many different things were happening, and the world was changing, and it was like somehow these things were flowing through him. But I guess that's me being a bit naive in a way. Maybe this stuff is floating around, but at the same time, there was very deliberate artifice in putting it down, and also the artifice around who created it. but certainly all these connections to this previous occult knowledge, these previous myths, and how they were brought into the works, that took, if you like, in inverted commas, a science. I mean, Hughes did say its plot is less likely to have been the result of one man's influence and special interest, whether Bacon or Shakespeare, than a situation projected from a shared preoccupation of the whole group. Different kinds of occult Neoplatonism, planned study in a retreat withdrawn from society, with the beginnings of a manifesto and codes of contact. So this is like an early that's a secret society, isn't it? Let me just jump ahead a little bit. So I think talking about this, I think around what the Rosicrucians believe. First is to achieve harmony between fixed and the free, between this sever formal powers of judgment and the flowing spontaneous powers of mercy. The second is to achieve the sacred marriage, the conjunction of masculine and feminine. Third is to redeem the Shekin from the abyss of the demons, where the Shekinah is the divine spirit, originally the soul
Shekinah, shock and awe.
Yeah, originally the soul of Israel, and they put in brackets Ariel, who again is a sprite in the last play, Tempest. Imagined as female, the soul as God's bride, immersed in material existence. And the fourth is to attain mastery over or defense against the demonic powers of the abyss. These four principles are also the cornerstones of the Gnostic myth of Sophia, which rises so forcibly into the substructure of the romances. Another one that some people think is the author of Shakespeare's plays is Christopher Marlowe. Now he wrote Dr. Faustus, which I did read, but so long ago, and I really need to read again. But again, that's the myth of someone who sells their soul basically to devil. Again, a bit of a John Dee character, and again, I think he was maybe quoted as being someone who might have been a model for that. But he sells his soul to the devil for all this power and glory and all the rest of it. But after so many years, the deal's up, and the classic thing, the devil comes to take his soul away to hell. And at the end of it, the end of the play, I remember him saying, I'll burn my books, but it doesn't work. But Marlowe actually died. So he overlapped Shakespeare's time. I haven't got the date right in front of me when he supposedly got killed through a dagger in the eye, which sounds quite a bit of a symbolic type of thing. But then there's quite a lot of supposition, whatever, that people think that because he was apparently involved again with Secret Service type people, he was a spy. So that could have been the reason why he was killed, or some people think that it was a fake thing and he didn't actually die and he maybe went abroad.
It's like Odin with his eye got the knowledge.
Yeah. Well, that's quite very symbolic for many things, isn't it? So again, could Marlowe from in a different persona, in maybe even a different country, but could
Marlowe. Would there be a picture of
him? Yeah, famous old Christopher Marlowe. Yeah,
I know he's famous.
And I was thinking, he
blimey.
He
ecstatic hair.
Ecstatic hair. Shakespeare, I mean, obviously the vast majority of people will know Shakespeare, but they won't know Marlowe. But Shakespeare has himself become like a mythic hero, like a god, hasn't he? Because, like I say, it's this idea where did he really exist? Was he really human? And he's become another thing. old lecturer didn't like was obviously now it's a huge industry, and it's the whole thing around Stratford-on-Avon, and you can get every sort of Shakespeare memorabilia, and it's become like a cult. And it's one of these things, if you make something into an icon and a myth to be worshipped, then it's losing its substance, maybe, or it can be used to actually affect people's opinion and get what you want, So again, as I say, Christopher Marlowe, and apparently I just found an article on the BBC, so it must be true. But in 2016, there was some group of academics in Oxford, the Oxford University Press, and they did officially credit Christopher Marlowe as Shakespeare's co-writer on 3 of the Bard's plays. I mean, that was just one group's. They said, "Oh yeah, no, we've decided Christopher Marlowe definitely co-wrote that." Other people said they disagreed, but again, already that's just from semi-official sources. There's a connection there with some people, even those who think Shakespeare himself was a writer. They were giving Marlowe at least co-credit for writing some of them. So I think he, quite possible again, he was another one of those that was involved. And you can see a sort of progression if it was, because as I say, this Dr. Faustus, which would have been written in Shakespeare terms early in Shakespeare's career. So at the time, I guess Faustus would have been probably more famous. But that, as he finishes with like, "I'll burn my books," and he's taken away to the underworld. But as Hughes is saying, with the Tempest, which is the final of Shakespeare's plays, it's like Prospero then is the magician, and he keeps talking about his books. He's got these books, so that gives him this knowledge. And as I say, he was modelled supposedly on John Dee. But in the end, he wins out. So he's tamed. There's all this stuff that when he came, he was shipwrecked on the island with his daughter Miranda, and the island was basically controlled by this witch Sycorax, but he banished her, so that she's the Queen of Hell figure, but she was banished before the play even started, so he'd got that side out. And then, as I say, he freed this sprite Ariel from the tree, this rebirth thing, and it was through Ariel that he's got that. Ariel does all this magic on these sailors who get shipwrecked, and it's where people that had kicked him out of Milan and taken away his position, so he gets the better of them. So at the end, he marries his daughter Miranda, who's this sort of ideal Venus-like goddess woman, if you like.
Like me.
Yes, very much like you. Very much like you do. Yeah. With Ferdinand, who's this sort of Adonis figure, much like me. So they got this. So you've got this again, one of these things they talked about as having this sort of sacred wedding. So it's like, and at the end he does this play, which I'll go in. This monologue, which I'll talk about in a minute. Actually, maybe I can do it now.
Don't forget, don't do it too fast. You always read quotes out too fast. Do you want a bit of light?
Oh yeah, a bit of light, lovely. Yeah. Don't blind anyone else.
Light.
So our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into thin air. And like the basest fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and a little life is rounded with a sleep.
No idea.
So I mean, I suppose there's a few other speeches like that in Shakespeare. You know, like all the world's a stage. Again, it's this idea that of the imaginary controlling reality, I suppose, in a way. So it's relating it to the theatrical. You're watching this play, and they've just, as with quite a few of Shakespeare's plays, there's a play within a play. So it's just following that he's saying this, but this idea that it's all ephemeral and transitory, and our lives are similar. But ultimately, Prospero succeeds at the end of this play. He gets what he wants, and he says that he's giving up his books in a similar way to Dr. Faustus, but it's in a completely different way. He's not giving him up in a forlorn plea to be spared the devil. He's won out, and he's already, before the play started, got rid of the evil witch, queen of the underworld, and he's also tamed her son, who's supposed to be described as like half man, half beast, which is Caliban, who he's enslaved. And Hughes is saying within that play, Caliban is this wild boar character because he wants to kill Prospero and is sort of plotting to kill him and rape his daughter. But that doesn't happen. Prospero, he gets control. He thwarts their plans. So it's like, as Hughes is saying, he's reached the pinnacle in a way of this tragic equation, where he's got to the stage where there isn't a tragic hero that's got to be sacrificed. He's sort of won out, and it's sort of the idea that I suppose this ancient philosophy, this new science connected to the old science, alchemy, as won out. But if you look back at an earlier play, Macbeth, it's well, on the face of it, so much is about nihilism, about, you know, death and destruction. It's like he's one of his most bloody plays, even though it's very short. Lots of people died.
Everybody died, Andy.
Yeah, it's sort of like a proto horror film, maybe. So quite appropriate. Again, a little link back to something else. But Roman Polanski's first film after the Sharon Tate murders was a version of Macbeth, which I haven't seen apart from a few clips, but it's supposed to be very violent and bloody. And there was even stuff from the British Board of Film Censors at the time, and they were like, oh, you know, I don't think this is really on showing this. And it's obviously too much of a reference to Polanski's own experience with the Tate murders. And so I was wondering, again, it's sort of like we were talking all this stuff about those Tate murders and what happened with the Manson family and how they were controlled by, you know, these MK Ultra type people, and that's probably what led to this. So you've got this idea again of making the world a stage, but controlling people, actors within the real world, and getting them to do terrible things. And I mean, if you think, you know, Polanski did Rosemary Baby, I think that was pre the Manson murders, I think, wasn't it?
Big dickhead.
But you know, so much of what he does seems to be around this idea about ritual, witchcraft. So yeah, it was quite notable that he chose to do that, and it maybe, I don't know. Again, it was some symbolism of the way Hollywood and the world was going, and this again of this idea of the image factory and what it was producing and the violence. Oh yeah, we're back to them again. Yeah. So the dress from Rosemary's Baby, and they were wearing it. So you got a link again back there. But I was thinking with Macbeth, because there's this thing where he's like at the start of the play, he's a noble warrior. He's defeated the army from Norway and these rebels within Scotland that are trying to overthrow the king, and him and his mate Banquo have fought them off, and they were talking, all described about how valiant they were. But I suppose it's interesting though, the imagery as well that they were using in the language. I think they say something like he would have created a new Golgotha? Is that where reference to where Jesus was sacrificed? So, it's quite, I suppose in the way it's like he was violent then at the start, but it was a violence that was to keep the sacred order of the king. So it was a good violence, and I suppose you get that now. It's like, oh yeah, you go to war and blow loads of people up, but supposedly, if it's to protect the order of Western democracy in inverted commas, or what's supposed to be the right way to think and be, it's all right to be violent in that sense. But anyway, he's shown as being noble, good, but then he comes across the three witches, and it's there. They say to him that he's destined to be king, and they put all these thoughts in his head, which set him in motion to kill the king, and then carry on killing, doing lots of terrible become a despotic ruler. And it's like, it just made me think, the three witches, like a prototype MK Ultra, they sort of like, they appear and they get into his head, and it's like, oh, you can be king, you're going to be king. And he had no designs on that, or well, supposedly, or maybe not that we know of. And suddenly he gets turned around and he starts enacting this brutal slaughter on people. So yeah, as I say, I mean, it's really bloody, and the fact that Polanski chose to do it just after the Tate murders, Macbeth, goes on to, order the killing of Macduff's wife and children. It's really dark stuff, and it was all. And another element to it I was thinking of as well, like when he kills the king, Lady Macbeth, is all part of the plotting as well, but they drug the king's attendants, getting a bit drunk, and Lady Macbeth puts some drugs in it, so knocks them out, so they're unaware. Macbeth kills the king, and then using these attendants' daggers, smears them with the blood, and then when it's all discovered, it's like, oh, you've killed them. And then he immediately kills the attendants, so they can't, no one can question them. And again, that to me was like, that's like a proto. And it was interesting because, yeah, apparently, as Colisham said, this came out soon after Macbeth came out, not long after the gunpowder plot thing. And again, that was this prototype false flag. And again, so many of the plotters were killed quickly, so they couldn't deny what had gone on. Guy Fawkes and others, poor people, were tortured on the rack, and they got these confessions of, which were obviously stage managed, have got them to say basically the state narrative on what the plot had been. And there's material reasons for Macbeth, as they're saying, because it's set in Scotland, and obviously this James I was Scottish, who's the new king of England, Britain as a whole, and he was the one, James I, who was rabidly against witchcraft and wrote all these books about witchcraft. and he so it was obviously of the references to the witches as well would have appealed to him, but them being, you know, portrayed as obviously evil, because apparently, yeah, James I, he's got some sort of, he had something going on, because apparently he used to personally supervise the torture of women.
They've all got things going on.
Yeah, torture of women, you know, to extract confessions to say that they were witches, and you know, so yeah, obviously there's material things in there that were put in the play to appeal to the new king, and apparently Banquo, I think apparently in Holinshed's histories of the actual Macbeth and Banquo, because they were real people in history, I think Banquo joined with Macbeth in overthrowing the old king, but they didn't put that in the play, and Banquo was actually, it's his line that came down to James, so it's basically he's an ancestor, so they put Banquo as being a nice honest one, which would again appeal to the king. But yeah, there's references in Macbeth. There's this kid, Macduff's child, who says there's more liars than honest men, and then soon after he gets killed. Lady Macduff says, I am in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable, to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. So yeah, there were references there that I thought maybe it was interesting. I thought, with especially if you look at it around the time of this gunpowder plot, of this origins of the PSYOP full flag terrorist event, and again that comes in around this idea of imagery of magic, and there's so much which a lot of people see Macbeth as being just like a nihilistic play. Again, it in the modern, a lot of the modern criticism of it, you get like when Lady Macbeth dies and he's told of her suicide, because she becomes tormented, as they both do, from what they've done, and in this famous soliloquy, Macbeth, she should have died hereafter, there would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more, is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Yeah, but there's a lot of biblical allusions within the play as well, and Hughes on his equation does see it, although it doesn't, from him talking about this this equation of his and how it relates to these ancient myths. He feels that there's actually there's this like parade when Macbeth, after he's done terrible things, he goes to the witches again because he's trying to find out about what his future holds. And then there's sort of this little again, a sort of, not a play within a play, but it's like these witches put on this presentation with these strange apparitions, and one of it's an armored head, and another's a bloody babe.
Oh
yeah, but he does see that Hughes as still being that there was they're saying that beyond Macbeth's death there will be some sort of other transformation, but you know, that goes in again to this idea of there being a transformation after some horrible cataclysm has happened and you need to sort of go through the terrible disaster or violence to get to it, you know.
We're talking about the eclipse again, aren't we?
Hopefully not. So yeah, this equation basically. So this, as I say, the Venus and Adonis poem, followed by the rape of Lucretia. So this sort of little formula that he has that adapts through the plays is Adonis rejecting the goddess, and in Shakespeare's versions there's some moral principle, so you get some characters that refuse to go with the noble woman for some moral principle. The goddess becomes angry, and as the boar, so there's some sort of violence that ensues that either kills this hero or possesses him. So this Adonis becomes like the evil brother and becomes this Tarquin, reborn as this Tarquin, is from this second poem, Rape of Lucretia, who then assaults the goddess, the noble goddess. But then after this Tarquin character dies, understanding his error. So there's like a double death. So for Hughes, it's all about this human condition, or whether to embrace this goddess of divine love, become saintly or holy, or to live this independent secular life and reject this divine love. But that in itself often leads to this self-destruction. So what he sees, I think, in this Prospero character in The Tempest is that I suppose it's because it's like a Rosicrucian dream type thing, because this Prospero, this D character, has achieved this. He's got the sacred wedding between his daughter and this ideal man. He's got the better of his adversaries in the material world, so he doesn't need his books anymore because he's achieved this transformation. And that's the origin in the who's that?
Prospero.
Oh, good old Prospero. Oh, he's looking quite noble there, isn't he? Because and then it's from The Tempest, like near the end, that Miranda, because she's like, as a young child when they got exiled from Italy, and she went with him and got washed up on this island, so she'd never seen any other humans.
That's them, I think.
Yeah, so she'd never seen any humans. So then she sees this Ferdinand, and she's like, "Oh, are you a spirit?" And so he's presented as being like this almost godlike ideal man sort of thing. But at the end of it all, when through this play, these other sailors that are washed up, and they're all like drunken characters and all trying to get their own way. But then she has, it's then that she has, oh, look at these people, what brave new world.
Oh, shut up.
So that's where Brave New World, the line Brave New World comes from. Hold on, let's find it in this issue.
Oh, I just accidentally got that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Oh, he done a few good quotes, mate.
Well, who did?
Oh, well,
who did?
Him did, whoever he was.
Who did?
Yeah. It's got dead air again, isn't it?
This is Ferdinand lured by Ariel.
Oh yeah, that's good, yeah.
He has a problem with his tights as well. Like.
Well, we've all been there, haven't we?
You haven't.
Oh no.
I have a problem with my tights.
Until people know that.
Do you want the light again?
No.
Don't worry about it.
Right. Okay. Oh no, here we are. Wonder.
Oh Christ.
Oh wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. Oh brave new world, there are such people in it. And then of course that's where Aldous Huxley gets the title for his
Brave New
book.
World.
But in actual fact, as I say, it's they're idiots, these people, or nasty, trying to get better and do nasty things to other people. So, but within Brave New World, Huxley's Brave New World, it is the works of Shakespeare that the savage has, which teaches him about how humanity, or is, in all the different forms of humanity. So I think that there is this element where there is greatness within it, and it does bring up all these different psychological aspects of humanity, good and bad. But like everything else, like the theme, it can be used for control. There's also a line by Caliban which they used at the start of the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony. Something like, these aisles are full of noises. So yeah, another reference to that. I might have to wind it up now. But
in conclusion, nothing's what it seems.
Nothing's what it seems. I like the way Colostrum says there. It's like he's almost got a disembodied head there, Shakespeare. The way that classic draw picture of him is, it's like, yeah, his head's sort of strangely floating, like it isn't real. I do recommend the books. If anyone's the Ted Hughes and the Colostrum. I suppose the Colostrum's more on the conspiratorial level, if you like. The Hughes, it's a bit more esoteric, but it goes into great detail.
Can't find it.
What are you looking for?
All of it.
All of it. All right.
Should we go back to us?
Yeah. Why not?
So many reasons. I'm bloody Roy Orbison.
Oh,
I don't like Roy Orbison.
No.
So what do you think, Mark, in conclusion?
I think people certainly are using a lot of this. Again, I think the works of Shakespeare seem to embody these mythical ideas that have been used by the
Shakespeare is.
Like I say, I think it's a combination. I don't think it's one person. I get the impression that De Vere maybe was the predominant author, but with the influence of
Shaky No Neck.
Who says that?
Johnny.
Good old Johnny. But with the influence, and possibly after the death of De Vere, Shakespeare, people like Francis Bacon maybe took words of poetry and then adapted it, and maybe the emphasis on this Hermetic philosophy came later, but there's references again in the Tempest with these drunken sailors, and they're like,
Israel's just come in.
Oh, you'll have to listen back, mate.
Oh no, he says great presentation, so maybe you did hear it.
Oh, thanks very much. Well, I was inspired by your brilliant video, and
we love your videos.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, there's so much in there, and I think this overthrowing of the idea of overthrowing the king and then the new young substitute king coming up, it does seem that they're weaving this imagery in there to push this narrative again, so we just have to hope that they don't win out. But I think with all these things, like I was saying with D, and I don't know, I think there's good things you can take from it. I'm hoping, and like the ideas of alchemy and these old philosophies, that there can be positive transformation things in it. But if people with pure heart, if you want, learn these things and go through these things, undoubtedly the people that do have power are using it for their own ends, which are not good ends for the majority of the population. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've written a lot more, but I think
You've exhausted yourself.
I've probably exhausted myself and everyone else.
You've exhausted yourself.
But like I say, even in Brave New World, Huxley's book, he used a quote from The Tempest, and these works of Shakespeare were seen as the antidote to the, this fake world that was.
Which is ironic, because it was a fake world.
Yeah. Yeah. But then
they were, like I say, you could get your bloody head chopped off for bloody sneezing in them days. So if they were wanted to be a bit risque or say something against the king or something, they couldn't put it in their own words. No. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, on one level, the idea of someone using a pseudonym, or, I mean, obviously it's gone to a whole other level with this Shakespeare, but to one extent, the words are there, and you can take them for what you will, whether you want to read them or not, and get things from them or not. In one sense, it doesn't matter who wrote it. The words are there. If you think they're good or not, then it depends on the work.
Well, it's a bit like what we do today. We can't say certain words. We have to talk about the or the jibber jabber, or we are censoring ourselves. So maybe that was their version of censoring. Not censoring themselves, but just giving themselves a get out of jail. Because if the shit hit the fan, they could go, "Oh, it was him. No, it was her. No, it was him.
100%.
It was him."
But I suppose there is the thing that, although who was on the throne changed, and then that shifted to what was acceptable and different power groups. But yeah, people that were in this group were well connected at some certain points, although they fell out of favor. Like De Vere, I think, did fall out of favor, as did Dee. On the face of it, at least, I suppose, some could say, maybe it was part of the story that they fell out of favor, and they were off still doing undercover work. Oh yeah, no, I'm not with the state anymore. I'm, so there could have been that, because you don't quite know.
Well, it could also have been that they were like hired by important political people to get the word out. So, the non-Shakespeare Shakespeares were kind of, maybe some of it wasn't their ideas, and it was kind of a way of making the political environment go in a certain way. But these heads potentially didn't want the king or whatever to know that they were doing that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. But I suppose, again, trying to snatch optimism. But this legend, this equation, it is about a rebirth as well as death, and the idea of coming up from the underworld, and things that the symbol of the flower is important. As I say, Adonis turns into a flower in the Ovid version of the myth. So I know the powers that shouldn't be are trying to pervert it, I think, where there's a death, and the rebirth is their new version of the king, the brave new world that they want to impose. But as has been said, maybe they're trying to get this in quickly, because people getting more knowledge, getting more understanding of what's going on, that the rebirth will actually be a positive one for.
And what is interesting is Osiris was the god of rebirth, because Osiris got chopped up into little pieces, put under the ground, and then grew up again. It was green, and they were talking about that fairy thing that was speaking to Ferdinand as being green.
Ah, right. Yeah.
So green represents rebirth, also absent. I can't find it now. But there it is. So it just there's a lot of green going on and rebirth, and they were just mentioning about the green Ariel being green.
Oh yeah.
That's I don't know if there's any. There's probably nothing to do.
No,
with
no.
anything,
I know. I mean,
but then you get Osiris, who was green.
I mean,
and that because of he represents the rebirth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Going off on tangents now.
No. But that's fine. I mean, it's
what we do.
Hughes was talking here about like the thunder. I was talking about the storm as we came in. Where
people can't see that because I'm not sharing. So let's share.
But yeah, Hughes was talking about various imagery in different things like the Kabbalah of the thunderbolt, a lightning flash. Irresistible enlightenment descends through the tree of life from the divine source, piercing each of the Sephiroth in turn until it enters and transfigures the lowest. The Christian Kabbalah of the occult Neoplatonists shifted the God-centered emphasis of Hebrew Kabbalah to a Christ-centered emphasis on the tree of life of Christian Kabbalah, and there was this idea of Christ. Obviously, it's a cross, but it's made from a tree. So again, it's part of that symbology.
Right.
But yeah, it's
we could go on and on.
We could go on.
And I think we probably have. Everybody's sharpening.
Oh dear.
Oh look, we've gone on forever. We have gone on forever. But anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Well, thank you for bearing with us.
Do you want to have a little read through some of the bits? Everybody said you did a good job.
Oh, thank you. Right, let's. I'll get it on me.
Get it on your thing.
Get it on my thing.
Oh, it hasn't, DJ. It's killing. It's just that I can't read with me Roy Orbison glasses on. So, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. What stupid crap? Oh.
I don't think they were talking about you, babe.
No.
Of all the nice compliments you've had,
no, I didn't take it as that. No. I'm working backwards, reading backwards, which is probably not the best idea.
You're not reading anything. You're just reading stupid crap.
Yeah. Yeah, politicians moving sideways into corporations. Yeah, it's spin doctors of those times. It does seem, and like I think as Colostrom says, it's quite important to. Well, he looks at them in conjunction, although only just connected them slightly in terms of some of the key players, but this the gunpowder plot and the Shakespeare hoax, they were both in very different ways formative for society right up to now. Obviously politically, and all the structure of society, and this idea of having betraying an enemy, and an enemy without and within, and then then you can increase your own power and control. So that happened side by side around the same time as the Shakespeare happened. So Jason Horsley did a podcast with Thomas Sheridan. Didn't know that.
We got his books.
Yeah, Jason Horsley, very, very interesting. Yeah, he's written very, very good stuff on so much. I'll look into stuff again maybe on a future talk. Biggest transformation in alchemy is the person doing it, DJ. Yeah, I think that was coming out of the talk last year. It's just that long ago. But Jay and Bridges' book on alchemy, which I am going to do next. So it'll be another couple of weeks gap. Sorry, people, but I'm going to go back to this alchemy idea. But it really wasn't really that I was dropping the idea, really, because so much of that these alchemy ideas are within the Shakespeare works, and of course, again, people like Dee and Bacon. So it's just a completely reoccurring theme. Oh yeah, Mari, very young in use of the ancient archetypes of the psyche. Yeah. Yeah, thanks again, Israel, for saying that. Great presentation. So yeah, I think it is with this mind control stuff, if you like, it's just another facet, as we know, on social conditioning level or on the individual levels of individually controlling people to then go out and do terrible things or to do something that's going to shift the agenda the way they want to. And this is very much, and we know that cultural versions of that, whether film, TV, is still goes on from now. So it's continuing from Shakespeare. So there is that. It's well at the heart of everything, and like I say, it was quoted at the start of the Olympics, and we know there's so much symbolism in that 2012.
That one where they have the beds and the kids.
Yeah, that was all that. Yeah. So he, but yeah, and of course Shakespeare, shake a spear, and as Israel was talking, I was really struck by that. How you're talking about the jibber jabber and how it connects to that, and of course that the first man to take it. But yeah, it's a violent, warlike symbol, isn't it? Shaking a spear. It just connects it there with, and obviously so much of the plays are about wars and the wars of succession and the violence that put Britain into that state, where it was now. But I think there are different psychological levels, like you say, with the archetypes. I think individual people, if they can read it, maybe they can get something out of it and get a different transformation.
No.
Don't let the powerful people take control of it. Oh yeah, I think you said the Tsar for the jabs was from Stratford. It was a Stratford-on-Avon MP, which is another, to say it was a coincidence would be ridiculous, especially with that bloke being the first person to have it, called William Shakespeare. Ridiculous. I mean, how many William Shakespeare? DJ, maybe the spear is the spear of Longinus, Roman soldier, and Jesus. Yeah, sounds interesting. Yeah, magic meant for personal development, social control is the dark stuff. Quite agree, Mari. I think it's like anything. It's how it's used, and with all these things, the people in power are misusing whatever it may be, and and then
trying to pretend it doesn't even exist.
Yeah. But I mean, I love writing. I love reading. I love watching films. The occasional play. Don't go to the theatre much, but I do like all this stuff. And to me, it was funny, like doing stuff at university, and people say, "Oh, doesn't it not spoil your enjoyment of books, like analysing it?" And it didn't, because to me, it was just getting out different levels within the texts, whether the author meant them to be there or not, but finding different depths to it, which is, I found fascinating, the Ted Hughes analysis of Shakespeare. But to me, it's the same thing now, where if I see a film and I think, oh, that's got some symbolism of, something esoteric, or that's, some agenda driven stuff there, I can still maybe get something on an entertainment level, but to me, it's like a deeper understanding, and it's just. But I think by the knowledge of how they work things, by us knowing that gives us power, because
it gives us a protection.
Yeah,
because our eyes are open. We're not. people that watch these things and don't understand the symbolism of it are actually being manipulated, whereas we can watch it and go, for Christ's sake, look at that there, look at that there. So that's why you can get the enjoyment, but you're potentially not being as manipulated because you can see through it.
That's what I think Colishon was saying. He was like, at the start of his book, he was like, oh, some people be saying, oh, why you go?
Ego's just come in. You're a bit late, my lad. You're a bit late, my lad.
Thanks for popping in, mate. But yeah, he was saying, oh yeah, some people were saying, oh, why are you going for this? There's always been these debates, like, oh, who wrote Shakespeare's plays, and but he was saying it's vitally important because if people can create that much of a hoax about someone who's supposed to be this greatest playwright and someone who's so formative to our culture, what else are they lying about? And it's as we know, it's just about everything.
What aren't they lying about?
Yeah. So but everything goes back, like with talking on alchemy, to these ancient myths and legends and how they've been passed on, and how I think at every step along the way they went into all these different major religions, and you got these groups of people was then like, right, let's take this, and maybe there was some divine, in inverted commas, or inspiration that, and certainly some knowledge and insight from the past which could be transformative, but at every stage it's like someone's like, right, no, I'm taking that, I'm using that, and I'm gonna use this to get people on side so they will kill millions of other people and give me power. And it's just, that's just the theme of history, sadly. But yeah, DJ grew up in a half Catholic and half Protestant household, so you had a bit of religious wars going on there inside the house. But yeah, right. Should we
retire to the drawing room?
I might powder my nose or something. I don't know. So watch out for wild boars, everybody.
Using my powder. Right, yeah. Thanks everybody. We're not in next week. We're not doing it next week because we're going to Glastonbury. We were going to be going to the Legends conference, but they cancelled it. But then some people said, "Oh, let's go to Glastonbury anyway." So we're going there. So if you're in Glastonbury next weekend, so are we. So just send us an email and we'll put the email in there.
I know Cosmic's going to be there. Hopefully, so and once again, Cosmic's doing a live stream Monday, isn't it?
Yeah, Cosmic's doing a live stream on Monday about the
end of the world. That should be a hell of a live stream
about the Cosmic eclipse. Yeah. And go and check out Israel Diego's videos. We always say that.
Yes,
because they're very good.
Yes, fantastic, and it definitely sparked off a lot of things that made me think during this talk.
Oh yeah, so he's brilliant.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody again. Like I say, we do this because it's kind of our social life. We don't get out much. We're going out next week, which that's the only time we've sort of. You go out to watch the football with your brother. The only time I go out is when we go to like conferences and things, because I can't be dealing with people that don't get it. I just can't be doing. I have enough of that at work. I love them at work, but so. We're going out and about next weekend.
Yeah, Ego said, what's this new plan Mark is formulating? Are we in on it? Well, you can become part of our new secret society.
Oh, Christ, it's not that secret, is it?
We can. Well,
you can't go telling people on YouTube about your secret society. 101.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
So true, anyway,
I failed at the first hurdle.
We enjoy doing this on a Saturday because it's kind of like our social life. And we like you guys meeting up in the chat box. We like bringing the peoples together. So thank you so much. And we still don't understand why you stick with us, but please keep doing it.
Yeah. Things come back to us in a couple of weeks. There'll be more alchemy.
And hopefully I would have found a musical box because that was nonsense, wasn't it, earlier? So thanks for sticking with it. That was nonsense. Yeah.
Baby monkey on a pig.
Baby monkey.
Riding
baby
backwards
monkey.
on a pig.
Baby monkey on a... I can't find the off button. We might be doing this.
We could be doing it for a long
Baby
time.
monkey,
Baby monkey.
riding backwards on a pig, baby monkey.